Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see so many smiling faces in the chat. I imagine you're smiling. Everyone just seems so chipper. Hopefully, you can hear me. If you could mention in the chat whether you can see or hear me, that would be fantastic. I hope my mic is picking me up loud enough. I can move it closer to me if it seems too quiet. So if you can let me know, that would be great. Actually, it seems, oh, people are hearing me. Okay, that's good. Oh, good. Okay, I sound loud enough. I don't want it too close because then if I hit it with paper or something, it'll be very unpleasant if you have if you have headphones on. So we are going to make some cards today, and it is 2 o'clock on the dot. So we're going to get right into it. And we're going to make these adorable deer cards. I had unboxed some markers, the Artify markers. Oh, it was like last week or the week before, and I colored a few of these little deer. And then I thought, oh, I should make some cards with those. So I actually colored a whole sheet of them and cut them out, and we're going to play with them today. And we're going to do a bunch of techniques, from making our own stencils to using stencil paste to coloring, all sorts of things. So I want to thank you for joining me and for crafting along. I hope that you've got some supplies to play with, or maybe you're going to watch it through and then watch the replay to craft along. It's all good. I love seeing you guys chat with each other in the chat. It's awesome to see so many familiar faces, and I just hope you're all having an awesome day. Okay, first thing we're going to do is some inking, and before we ink, we need to make our own stencils. And I'm going to show you how I made mine. They're very, very easy to do. So I took one sheet of paper. It was a 9x12 sheet of paper, and I'll kind of show you how it all was. It was together like that. It was just one sheet of paper. And so what I did was, to make my masks for the hills, I just took an X-Acto knife and cut a wiggly line. It probably makes more sense if I flip it over. To cut the masks for my trees, I just basically drew zigzags and then cut them out with scissors. And that's all there is to that. So you'll need both parts. So if you just take a 9x12 piece of cardstock and cut it in half, that's going to be great, and you can reuse it. And then I also made masks for the moon, and all that is a Post-it note that I've cut with a circle cutter. So that works really well too. I put a piece of washi tape over it and let the washi tape hang over, so it would just have a little extra sticky, but that works great. Very easy to do. And I just left on the washi tape that I had holding down my stencils so I could reuse it. So that's all there is to that. Very easy to do. And generally, when I'm making these cards, I will make 4 backgrounds at once, but since I've got a bunch of backgrounds already made, I'm just going to do one. And I'm going to tack it to my table with a little bit of washi tape here. Masking tape is fine because the area you tape is not going to be used. So if it does rip, it's not the end of the world. So I'm just going to actually just take a couple little pieces of tape. And it's nice when you're doing the ink blending to get as much kind of bang for your buck as you can, because that way you can get all the mess done and over with at once. All right, so the first thing we need to do is make our trees. And I'm going to take the tree mask here, and I'm just going to kind of line it up with the top of my page, maybe go over by well, I can trim some off. I've got plenty of space there because this is a 9x12 tape that I use. So this is actually 6x9 piece here, so I'll have plenty of room to trim off, basically. This is a paper I'm using, by the way. I picked it up at Michael's. It's in the kids section, and it's called Creatology Heavyweight Multipurpose Artboard. And it was about $8 for a pack of 100 sheets. I got it because I thought it might be heavy enough to be for card bases, but it's not quite that thick. But it does work great for your multimedia techniques, and it's very affordable. And I think when I got it, they had one of those 25% off everything. I think they often have those if you have the Michael's app. So I think I paid around $6 for it. And so that's like 6 cents a sheet. I thought that was pretty fair, and it works really well, and it's acid free. So I don't have to worry about my cards, turning yellow or anything like that. We're going to use some ink, and I'm going to start off with a dye-based ink and a homemade ink sponge here. All my foams that I use are homemade, and I do have a tutorial link down below so that you can do that as well if you want to. I also have to put the mask down to protect my snow area. So I'm going to go ahead and put that like that. I hope it's not confusing with all that ink that's on there. You've probably all done this before, so it probably isn't. I just re-inked this pad this morning, so actually re-inked all my ink pads that I'm using today this morning, so I hope that they're not like overly juicy, and hopefully they don't give me any awful surprises, but we'll see. And any dye-based ink for this layer here is wonderful. It can be distress ink, it can be Stampin' Up ink, it can be any of your, any of your favorite brands ink, like Gina K or My Favorite Things or Hero Arts. It doesn't matter. Any dye ink is fine for this first layer. You just want your we're adding depth here with this, so we want it to be nice and dark. So this nice kind of hunter green color with whatever brand you have. The distress oxides we're going to use on top are more opaque, so they're going to show up against this really dark color. So don't worry about that. In fact, you want to flick that ink up. You want to like make sure there's not like stark white. And you want to start, when you're doing this, you want to start on the stencil and drag it off. And you can use these stencils a lot of time, especially if you give them a chance to dry in between. You can use them over and over again. We just want no stark white. We want to make sure that we're going to have color. But you want it darker at the tips where there's going to be silhouette from the moon, and darker at the bottom where there's going to be shadow from the trees. Okay, now we're going to lift up this top mask. We're going to leave that one down below. And we are going to just lightly shift it over about ½ inch. And you're going to see, you're going to shift it over and slightly down. And you're going to see that you've got little bits of white peeking through in some of the places, and that's fine. You're going to start with your green again, and any of that white that you see, you're just going to hit that with the with that dark green. Then we are going to move on to one of our Distress Oxide greens. I have Peeled Paint and I have Lucky Clover. And I'm going to first go with the Peeled Paint because I think that's going to stand up against that a little bit better. And this is another homemade dauber. So I take the cosmetic wedges that you can get at Dollar Tree. It's like you get a big pack for $1. And I fold them in half. You can kind of see where the seam is. And I glue them into like chess pieces or bottle caps. And I make my own daubers. I use the chess piece ones for oxides and pigment ink. And I use them for oxides. And I use the bottle cap ones for any dye basing. Doesn't matter the brand. I just use the bottle cap ones for dye inks. And I'm going to load up my my peeled paint just by pouncing, and then again I'm going to drag down. And since I just re-inked this, it's nice and fresh. The distress oxide is almost like paint. It's so opaque. And I highly recommend, if you are going to get Distress Oxide inks, that you grab the re-inkers at the same time. I ended up buying the first 2 releases, so that's 24 pads in all. And then I got like an orange and a yellow one. And then I ended up buying the re-inkers for all of them. So, and I bought them in sets on Etsy, so they were pretty affordable. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pull it down again and shift it a little bit over to the left, so the opposite way. Just doesn't matter if you go right or left first. It just you just want to get a variety, so it doesn't look like you have all your trees stacked up the same. And then I'm going in with Lucky Clover. Now, if you don't have these exact inks, use the colors that you have. There's like nothing in particular about these particular shades, just that I've got a warmer green and I've got a cooler green, and they're all just a little bit different, so they show up against each other. It doesn't really matter what colors you choose, but I just have the first 24 colors and then a random yellow and orange, because I felt like that was enough of that type of ink. I want to go over that again. That didn't show up as well as I hoped, so I'm going to go over one more time. This will almost give it like a misty look too, because we're leaving some of the other colors softer and showing through at the bottom. Okay. And we can set our... Now I wrote sky on there because that's protecting the sky. It's masking for the trees. That's why I wrote that. And this is protecting the hill, but we're using it to mask the trees as well. All right, so now and this is enough for 2 cards. But you could also do, like, shift all your stencils down and do the other half of your paper if you're doing the full sheet at once. So now what I'm going to do is put my my moon masks down. And since I'm doing 2 cards, I'm going to do 1 on each side. And I like to have it so the trees are in front. We do the trees first because the trees are closer to us than the moon. So if we did the moon first and then did trees and stuff, we won't want the trees to look like they're behind the moon. You know what I mean? So you want to do your trees first. Then we are going to take the other half of our tree stencil. Remember, we saved both pieces. We made a stencil like that, and we saved both pieces. We're going to take this piece, and we're going to put it down on top of our trees, and this is going to protect our trees. All right, and now we're going to mask our sky. Now we're going to ink our sky, and I'm going to put these away because we don't need them. And I am going to grab some dye-based purple. And I'm going to grab a couple shades of oxide blues right here. I'll leave those capped right now because I don't need them quite yet. I am going to use this, just a blending brush here. These are inexpensive on Amazon. I linked products up that are still current in the video description, but, or suggestions if you can't find what I have, because it's been discontinued. But I really encourage you to look through your stash and see what you have already, because oftentimes, there's nothing new under the sun. A dye ink pad from 10 years ago, if it's got ink in it, it's going to be just as good as the dye ink pad you just went to Joann's and bought. So, colors go in and out of style, but they come back in and they go back out. So there's no point in, destashing and buying new ink every 6 months. I don't think any of you guys would do that. You're too smart for that. But seriously, dye ink, any dye ink, doesn't have to be Distress. This is actually Harmony by Spectrum Noir. Doesn't matter, guys. Stampin' Up, that's fine. Whatever dye ink you have. And then I am going to take my blue Distress Oxide blenders. I got a couple shades here. I think I mistakenly switched them around at one point because they look awfully similar now, but that's all right. They're cheap enough to make. I can pull out the foam and replace it if I need to. And I did link up to a tutorial so you can make yours if you don't quite understand what I'm saying about making them. Now I'm just kind of like, I'm thinking about clouds when I'm doing this. I'm just kind of like pouncing and squiggling. It's covering up a lot of the purple, but I felt like it just needed a little bit of more depth to color than the oxides on their own provide. So I love doing a base of a dye ink and then doing the oxides over, just because I feel like it gives me a much better, I feel like it gives me a much better look. Look at that. See how it's like paint? I just love these inks. But definitely, if you're going to get these, plan on getting the reinkers because I think you're going to want them. And you can buy the reinkers on insets, and that's a way cheaper way to do it. All right, so that sky part is done. And it's not a bad idea to let it dry a bit before you try taking off the moon masks. Oh, and look at that. I didn't line that up very well, did I? I've got a big glow. So what I'm going to do is see if I can shift that down a little bit and, ooh, maybe that'd be pretty with a purple. You know what? I'm going to use my purple. I will have to wash this brush when I'm done because I will have picked up oxide ink in it, but you know what? Why not? Make it an interesting depth of color here. I do not throw away my cardstock. I do not throw it away unless it is absolutely unsalvageable. I think that we can spend so much time trying to make the perfect whatever that we don't get anything done because nothing is ever perfect and we end up throwing away our attempts. You can usually fix it. So before you think about tossing it, give it a try. What do you got to lose, right? What do you got to lose? All right, let's see this. There we go. That's better. Nobody would even know. As long as you don't tell them, guys, nobody's going to know. Okay, now we need to do our little hills. Now on the hill, I actually like to leave a little sliver of white at the top. I'm going to do a little tape on this too, because that's That's real handy, just having a little bit of tape on each side. And I'm sorry, guys, I have not been looking at the chat one single bit, so I have not caught anything that's gone by. So if you guys want to gossip about me, I'll have no idea. Except I can go back and look at it later, so. So please be nice. All right, so now I want to do a little bit of purple. Actually, I probably have enough on this already. Yep, I do. Very, very gentle touch when you're doing the snow. We just want to wisp it. Very, very gently. We just want snow plus like just the color, just a little bit of the tint. Now I'm going to shift this a little bit because I don't want all my hills to be perfectly lined up. And I'm going to use a dye-based blue. So I'm going to use tumbled glass, and I'm going to ink up my blending tool here, but I'm also going to brush it off because I just re-inked that pad this morning too, and I know that might be a little bit much. And I'm going to carry that wave. I'm just going to move this over so I can get a little bit of that blue wave over here. Now don't worry about it being repetitive because you're going to cut this in half and get 2 cards out of it. So that's totally fine. And then I'm going to line it up like this and I think I'll add both purple and blue to it. So I'll just do some blue first, right off the bottom. Some of this will get cropped off, so I'm not worried about that too much. Because we're going to have to crop this down to an A2, and it's going to be slightly bigger. Our A2 cards are made with half of an 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I'm using half of a 9 by 12 cardstock, so it's bigger. So I have plenty of room on the edges to, plenty of room for error. There we go. That'll be pretty. Okay. Now, if something looks too stark, if you don't like it, it's like, oh, that's a little too white in there. I feel like I need a little something else. I can just plop my stencil down and I can just give it a little whoosh. And it's like, oh, that's too purple. I need a little blue in there. And if I don't like the stencil, if I think the stencil looks too patterny, then I can say, okay, that's a little bit too much. I've got just a little bit of ink left in this. I'm just going to softly soften it, let's say. All right, now let's take off our masks and try not to smudge. Look at our fingers, aren't they gross? Try not to smudge anything. And there, miraculously, our moon appears to be behind our trees in the middle of our lovely evening sky. Okay, so we're going to do some different snow techniques here. And the first one is our beloved techniques that we do with the distress ink and distress oxide, which is flicking water on it. And that will give us a really pretty snow effect. But before we do that, and that's the other thing, I really like that this paper, it's really cheap and it does well with these distress oxide techniques, because sometimes you have a cardstock and it just doesn't, you spray it or you spatter water on it with the distress and it doesn't give you that effect because it doesn't have enough sizing in it. But this mixed media art board, I'll show you the thing again. I think this is a great buy. This Creatology heavyweight multi-purpose art board that's in the kids section, like near the Crayola stuff and whatnot at Michael's. It will give you a good effect. Because I remember when I was first trying the oxides, trying to find something that was going to work really well with them, and not everything did. So that's a really nice, affordable solution. I'm also going to wipe the edges on my mat. I'll wipe it off real good before we go coloring or anything. So you want your ink to be dry so that you get a nice effect. If your ink is too wet when you go to flick the water, it can get a little feathery and just less neat. And we want kind of we want a little more of a crisp look to our sky. I can actually show you the difference in a second because I have a couple finished examples. All right, that's pretty good. And also, you might not want to heat stuff right on your cutting mat because it can make it warp. But I lucked out, I guess. So I'm just going to use this big garden spray bottle because it gives me really good spatters, and I'm holding it pretty far away, and I'm going to pull the trigger slowly. Now, there is also a distress spray bottle that I think will do about the same thing. I don't have that, though. And this was 99 cents at Martin, so that holds a lot more. Okay, so you just let this sit for a bit, and you can start to see the lighter areas, and it looks like kind of snow far away. It's very misty. And then when you're getting pretty happy with the way it looks, then you can blot. And I love how like the ink got lighter there and it looks like there's like fog in the forest. I think that's a really pretty effect. And you can let the ink sit longer and spray it and just get different effects depending on how long you let the ink set, whether you spray it more than once. I just think it's a really pretty effect. And we can give it one more spray. If you're happy with it, leave it. If you're not quite happy with it, like I feel like it could have a little bit more effect in the sky, I'm going to give it another just kind of a little spray. I like the really subtle snow in the water too. Not the water, the snow drops on the hills of snow. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, so then what you want to do is let this dry completely, and then you'll trim it down to, I like to trim it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4, and that gives me a nice 1/8 of an inch border all the way around my card from the backing cardstock. But of course, you could have it trim it right to an A2 size card, like a like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then have it fill the whole card. That's completely up to you. But I'm just going to set this aside to dry. When the paper's not feeling so flimsy. When your paper's nice and dry, it's nice and crispy and it's easy to cut as well. So we can set that aside. I'm just going to wipe off. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to clean my table yet because we're still going to get messy. Wait a minute. I can use my media mat, which is kind of grody from yesterday, but I don't think you guys care, do you? I got some paint on it. It's not, it's not biohazard or anything. All right, so luckily for cleaning this stuff, all you have to do is just spray it with water and wipe it down. So kind of nice. Now we're going to use some texture paste, and if you don't have texture paste, you can use, and it works just as well, you can use plain old latex caulking from the hardware store or the dollar store. I like the little tubes of it because it's a more convenient size. So whatever you have will be just fine. I'm going to grab this stencil here. This is a really nice snow stencil. I know it's kind of gross, but I think you can see the snow. Little openings. I like it because it's random. This was from Simon Says Stamp a few years ago. I'm not sure if it is current anymore, but you could definitely make a pattern like this if you had like a scan and cut or a Cricut machine or a hole puncher. But I'm sure there's lots of snow stencils to be found, even snowflakes. The thing with when you're doing texture paste, there's a couple tips to keep in mind. One of them is to make sure your stencil is clean and to make sure you clean your stencil afterwards. So I got some really nice impressions here. I'm going to show you one that I did when the stencil was getting a little dirty. So this was probably one of my first ones here. I've got that really nice raised pearlescent snowflakes. It looks really nice. This one here, however, I didn't get too many snowflakes and they're really tiny, and that's because I had done a bunch of these backgrounds and my stencil was getting clogged. So you might need to wash it a little more frequently, especially if you have small holes or small openings in your stencil. So just kind of keep that in mind. They both look good. Like I said, I don't throw away the card bases. I make them work. And this was probably first. And then probably this one was second, starting to lose some of the holes. And then, probably this one, and then probably that one. And then this poor guy hardly has any snowflakes left. It's like the end of the storm. So just keep that in mind when you're using your stencils. And what I do to clean it, and I know it looks dirty, but it's just stained. I use an old toothbrush and some dish soap, and I just scrub it. And that gets into all those little holes and cleans them off. So through the magic of YouTube, we have this background here that I made yesterday that is basically what we just did, but it's dry. So I'm going to take my paper trimmer and we're going to trim this down to a card size, which I probably should have brought this out before I put my media mat down. Let's see. So I want to have it 4 inches by 5 1/4. Turn this one down to, whoops, I want to have the, what side do I want to trim off? Yeah. Oh my word. 4 inches. Now the scraps are really pretty from these cards, and I've been saving them. I think I'm going to do some tags with them. Aren't the scraps just really pretty? Got my little pile going over there. And then when I trim it shorter, I can decide to take some off the top and the bottom, or just off the bottom, or just off the top. It's up, completely up to you. I think I like more sky, so let's make this 5 1/4. And it's only going to be a sliver because I had a big piece of tape dividing my paper up when I was making these, so I ended up, cutting off a bunch of that already. So there's one of our backgrounds, and here is the other. 5 1/4. Oh my lord. Figure out which way to put this paper in. Okay. This cutter I think is still available, but it's not called a cutter pede anymore. I think it's just called EK Success Rotary Paper Trimmer, and you can still get the refills for this old one. The new one refills fit the old one. I really like this cutter. I've had it for probably at least 18 years because I started scrapbooking when my firstborn was born, and he's, oh my gosh, I was going to say he's 18, he's 19, oh my word. So it's been a long time. Let's grab our stencil here, and I'll show you how to get this done. Now, I also have a recommendation for stencil paste if you're not going to go to the Dollar Tree and buy caulking. I really like the Dreamweaver paste, and the reason for that is I've had this stuff for years, and I've been using it right along, and it's never dried out. And I just had to pitch some stencil paste that I bought on clearance at a craft store that I'd have maybe like a year and a half or 2 years because they had gone dry. I've had these for like many, many years. I have the pearlescent one, and I have white. Since I use a pearlescent on the other ones, I think I'll use white on this one. And you can also shake glitter onto that if you want it to have like a shimmery effect, which I think I'll do because that sounds like fun. And I need a palette knife. I like a palette knife versus a silicone spatula, and versus one of the really wide Dreamweaver spreaders they have, because I feel like this is just so much easier to deal with. And I have my stencil arranged so I have the more dense snow at the top. I just want to have my glitter handy because if I do decide to use that, I want to make sure that I have it ready to go. And I'm just using clear glitter. This is Arteza. Doesn't matter the brand. It's all pretty similar. And you don't need much, and what you don't use, you can scrape back into the jar. So it lasts a long time. That's why I recommend the Dreamweaver if you're going to buy expensive paste, because, and this is no more expensive than anything else, is because you can keep using it. It's not going to dry out on you. At least it hasn't on me, and other brands have that I haven't even opened. So that's the thing. I didn't even open that other kind. So that was kind of disappointing. That's my own fault for overbuying and, having it for years and not using it up. But I mean, how many times do you use this technique? For me, it's like Christmas. That's about it. All right. I lifted up my stencil when I was doing that, so hopefully I haven't made a mess underneath. I'll look up pretty. All right. Let's quickly sprinkle some glitter in there and go on to the next one. I'm not even going to shake the glitter off at this point. I just want to get it on there. Let it settle in there. Oh, that's pretty. I love clear glitter. And now we're going to do this guy before my stencil clogs up. Let's have the snow. If I do it that way, it could be like a nor'easter blowing in. You could put a bumble in your scene. You do you. I was realizing these don't really look like Christmas cards. These could just be generic, any wintertime cards. It could be for like a winter birthday party or whatever. Who wouldn't like to get a cute card with a deer on it? I don't know what that funk is. Ew, a funky stringy thing on my stencil. You can scrape it and get a lower profile, or you can kind of paste it on a little thicker and get a nice thick profile. Oh, that came out good. Let's glitter that. Ooh. I'm just going to pour it back and forth from these cards just to make sure everything got hit. There's really not going to be enough to put back in the jar. I'll just kind of separate the egg here. There. Like how pretty that is. Now, it will dry and it will be lovely. And since the background is completely dry, I shouldn't get a lot of ink. I shouldn't get any ink leaking up through, but that can happen. And if that happens, you can always hit it with a paint pen, or even very carefully roll over the raised areas with some white paint or something. I would just take a paint pen and maybe dab a few of them. But I mean, it's pretty. It's homemade. It doesn't have to look like, it rolled off the assembly line. I was actually in a, I'm gonna, you know what, I actually could, I'm keeping that. I was thinking I was just going to get rid of that, but there's no glitter on the top of the stencil, so I'm keeping that. I was at a stationery shop in Freeport weekend before last, and there were these beautiful quilled cards, and I'm like, whatever they're selling these for, there's too much work in there for whatever price they're putting on it. And I think they were selling them for $6, and they were all quilled. And I mean, the quilling couldn't have been done by a machine. I was just like, man, I couldn't believe it. It was like, I think they were charging it was under 10. And I was like, man, that quilling must have taken somebody like at least 2 hours per card. I'm just going to clean this up here because, you really do want to clean these up when you're done with them. So I'm going to wipe off the stuff underneath. I will have to give this Media Matte a bath because Media Matte a bath. Ooh, say that 5 times fast. Because glitter, embossing powder, that sort of stuff will not brush off of silicone. It just hangs on for dear life. And since I just had 2 things, I think that'll be clean enough. And I got a rag around here somewhere. That's the thing that's too bad about doing a craft live stream is that I feel like it takes me so much longer to make a card than to do a painting. Do you guys feel that same way? For those of you that paint and make cards. What side did I clean? All right, maybe I will go over this with the toothbrush upstairs. Lava soap is really good if you get stuff dried on. And I've also heard Murphy's oil soap is good for it. I've used Murphy's oil soap and also Mr. Clean to clean acrylic paint out of like silk screens and stuff. So I bet that would work really well. All right. I don't think I need that mat out for anything else right now. So I'm going to throw that on the floor and hopefully not trip over it later. And now we can do a little bit of coloring. I'm going to see if we have any questions. So I'm going to set up my little coloring station. And then if you guys have a question, if you could put the word question in all caps or hit the ampersand button, the @ button, and @ me in the chat, then I'll be able to see it because a big orange arrow will pop up. A big orange band will pop up and I'll be able to see it. So I did a little pre-prep here before I came on today. And I stamped out a bunch of these deer. And then I remembered that I have a silhouette stamp that matches these deer. And I'll show you what these stamp sets look like. But I've got to warn you, this company went out of business a few years ago. All their stamps are so pretty. Pink Persimmon is the name of this company. It's still one of my favorite companies. But I love this stamp set because there was outline deer. And then there was a silhouette. And you could just stamp the silhouette over the outline and have, your card's pretty much made. I mean, they were selling, I don't think people were doing matching dies when they were selling stamps. So it's just kind of neat. So I decided to do a bunch more. And then if you guys are interested, let me know in the chat and I can do a video on cutting these out with a scan and cut. I'm not a professional scan and cut user. I just use it for scanning and cutting, but I've heard a lot of people asking me about that. So if you would like a little video, I'm going to be a quick video, like 5-minute video or something. If you want a video on that, let me know and I will film it when I cut these out. I'll do my best. I'm going to clean my hands. I'm going to use some alcohol to clean my hands, and let's look for some questions. Look at that chat. That chat is just flying by. Oh, Eva McKinnon asks, what am I using for snow? That is the Dreamweaver embossing paste. I really like that brand. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the pearlescent one on Amazon. I think they might have had the regular, or maybe they had some of them. They didn't have all of them. But also just latex caulking. If you have a home improvement project going, paintable latex caulking is essentially the same thing. So if you get a tube of that, you're going to be good. And it's way cheaper. Joanna says, never apologize for the condition of your equipment. As it just shows how much you do. Thank you. Yeah, I love to see grungy ink pads and stuff. Some of these like craft rooms that I see, craft room tours, it's like it doesn't even look like you've used any of your stuff. My stuff looks so messy. It's like, have you even used those ink pads? I think other crafters are much neater than I am. All right, I don't see any questions. If I missed you, I apologize. But we are going to move on to the coloring demo. And this is real simple. I just wanted to show this because I think a lot of people get confused with alcohol markers, and I hopefully want to clarify. So I made a bunch of these little deer, and I thought they were just adorable. So the key is you want to find 2 or 3 colors that are similar in tone. Okay, so if I look at my color swatch here, swatch your markers. Ideally, swatch your markers on paper that you would typically use, because then your papers will what do I want to say? Your swatches will match when you're coloring for real. Oh, I did see a question pop up. Do you think the scan and cut is worth the expense over purchasing matching dyes? Oh, Jennifer K, yes, I do. Oh man, when I bought mine, it was $250 on Black Friday. I think Joann.com is where I bought it. And Home Shopping Channel also had a very similar price, but I bought it from Joann because I shopped at Joann more often. I was more comfortable shopping there. And a matching die set to a large set of stamps is like $25 in a lot of cases. And I have so many stamps because I've been stamping for 20 plus years. So I have tons of stamps and would never have dies. So for me, absolutely. I figured after 10, if I was going to buy 10 dies, 10 sets of dies, it totally would. Especially after how I've used it over the last 5 years, it definitely has more than paid for itself. Thank you, Joanna Matthews, for the super chat. That was very kind of you. And were there any other little questions there? Okay. I think that I have. Rosie said yes to the scan and cut video. And by the way, if you really want to see a pro do scan and cut stuff, Julie Faye Balzer, her channel, I think it's called either Julie Faye Balzer or Balzer Designs. I'm not sure what her channel name is, but whenever I have a problem, I find a video on her channel that solves it for me. So check her out. So anyway, what you want to do is you want to find 3 colors that look like they go good together. So let's look at 3 colors I would not put together. I would not put that blue with that blue. This is a purpley blue, and that's a greeny blue. I would not put that red with that pink. That's a corally red, and that's a like Pepto-Bismol, like purpley pink. So you want to find colors that are similar, and they're not always next to each other number-wise in marker sets. I've yet to find really logical marker numbering systems. They're usually kind of random. I would say if I wanted a good pink blend, I would go that, and that. Or if I wanted it to be darker, I would go that, and then that one because it's kind of corally undertoned, and then that one. In fact, let's use these 3 colors together and give it a try. So we have R105, we have R304, and we have R502. The numbers really don't mean much, except that's just what I used to color all these deep. I figured that would be a good one to demo with. Now, also, you're going to notice if you've ever looked to buy markers, they vary wildly in price. Your cheaper markers generally will have a chisel tip and a bullet tip. And that's actually kind of nice for stampers because those bullet tips are going to be very handy when you're getting into little details on something like this. A brush tip's nice, but where it's so small, if you can save some money and get the bullet option, I think it'll work pretty well. These are a new marker. I'll be reviewing them at some point, but they are the Artify Enhanced. I really like their brush markers. I think the brush markers are a better value. Actually, they're less than these, but these are out now. I just haven't really had a chance to really review them, but they did work pretty good. All right, so what I'm going to do is start with the lightest color, and this is kind of a beginner trick. You go in with your lightest color first, and you prime the area. So I'm going to go in, and I am going to color everything except for the super lightest areas. So that would be like the top of the head. Well, I think of the sunlight coming down on the deer or the moonlight or whatever. Top of the head. Whoops, I should have left that. That's fine. Tip of the ears, the back. The back would have a lot of light. Tip of the tail. And the rest of that I am going to color with this. Now you can use a bullet tip. It doesn't matter. These have a different type of chisel nib, but they're just kind of like really sharp and pointy and easy to fill in an area fast. So I think that's why they're calling them enhanced, because the chisel nib is kind of unique. indifferent, but use a bullet tip if you want. You don't have to use the chisel. Then what I'm going to do is go in with the medium, and this is a beginner coloring, so I'm showing you kind of the easier way to do it if you're not quite sure. And I'm going to color in my darker areas. And this isn't how I usually do it, but this does give you a little bit more time. So I'm just kind of overlapping some of it, but I'm not coloring over all of the areas. Then I'll go in with my darkest color, and I'll probably use a bullet tip here because I don't want to get too much ink, and I'm going to do the darkest shadows. Now just keep in mind with this method, you're going to be putting a lot of ink on your paper. That's why it blends really easily. However, if you're not careful, you can spill out of your lines. I'm using Neenah Classic Crest cardstock, which is my favorite for marker coloring because it gives you a little bit more blending time, I feel. And it's not super expensive. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my medium. This is my dark. I'm going to go back to my medium. I think I'll just stick to the bullet tip. I'm going to overlap the darks and bring it into the medium area I just colored. So I'm blending the darks out a little bit. It doesn't really matter the strokes you use because it's more of the wetness of the paper is blending it more than the ink. And then I'm going to go in with my my light, and I'm going to just color over everything pretty much, including that highlight area, which will only have one layer of ink, and everything else will have multiple layers of ink. So that will give us a nice highlight. And I'm just going to go ahead and color the inside of the ear because that's pink. And now reds and purples and blues are your more difficult colors to blend, so that's probably not the best color to start on, but this is a great technique for one of those colors, those color families, because they do tend to be a little bit more difficult. So there we've got a beautiful dark to light blend. I'll bring it up closer to the camera so you can see. And it'll even continue to blend more as it dries, which is really kind of nice. So we can do you guys want to do some more blending? I have a couple more uncolored deer, and then I'm going to show you how to do a similar look with colored pencils over that ink. Because, you know, if you have markers, but you don't have very many, if you say you've got like $40 and you can buy one set of markers, go for a set with a lot of pastel tones, because then you can go over it with your colored pencil and you can add more depth, and it's a lot easier. Kevin Moore asks, what's my favorite holiday? Oh, probably Halloween. That's a good question. Let's see. I'm just looking at I want to put everything back in my box the way it came out because it's just easier for me to find it. The box is actually arranged just like the color chart that came with the markers, which I like. It comes with one already colored, but you want to color your own, and I just did it on that because it worked just fine. I thought I saw another question, but maybe I didn't. Okay. Let's do one more with the markers. Oh, I want to show you the other way I do with the markers. And this way is the dark to light technique, and it works really well with earth tones, works well with yellows, works well with greens. Let's do a brown deer, and let's find, let's see if we've got 3 colors that are close enough here. Let's do 611, Y611, Y600, and Y529. So one other thing you want to think about when you're doing this is that you don't want to jump too much. Like if I wanted to use that color, then I'd want to use like that color, and that color. Actually, that's probably a pretty good blend. You don't want to jump too much. You don't want them too close together, or you won't see a difference, but you don't want them too far away, or they won't blend. So let's do those 3 colors. So 648. And it's really important to look at your swatches too, because like that one, the end chip on the marker does not look as dark as that. So 648, 529, which almost looks orange if I look at the cap. So that's why you need to look at the swatch, and 611. And these are all in the yellow family. So that's another thing that can help you if you make sure that your color family is the same. So they're all yellows, or all reds, or all blues, or all purples, or whatever. So on this technique, we're going to do dark to light, and it's just like how it sounds. So I'm going to start off with the darkest marker, Now, and you can actually color it all with the lightest marker first and then go dark to light. So that's kind of a nice way to kind of have a little more time to color. So I'm going to color my darker areas. Now I'm not sure on the tummy. The tummy would probably be light, but you know, because I'm not sure if deer have light tummies. Like, you know, a lot of animals have light tummies, like squirrels and cats sometimes, and dogs. But I'm not sure with deer, so I'm just making them dark. So because I am sure about the way shadows work, so I'm gonna go with that. I think the thing with blending, the cooler, I think it's the cooler the undertone, the harder it's going to be to blend. The more it's going to be to want to stain. I'm going to bring this shadow color right up along the chest, right under the chin, and also right under that ear. Now I'm going to go in with a medium color, and I'm going to overlap the darks. I tend to use a bullet tip if I'm working with darker colors because it can be, the chisel tip can put out so much ink that it can make it hard to control. It's ink flow more than like your nibs really that give you the blending. So like if you don't have a brush tip, use your chisel nib anytime you'd want a brush tip, because it's more about the ink flow, whether it blends. It's not like you're forcing it with your nibs. And I'm just going to soften that edge there from the dark to the light. A little shadow in there so the cheek will have a little bit of a roundness to it. All right, now I'm going to go in with my light color. Actually, I will go to the chisel nib with this because it's a lighter color and I can feel pretty confident in just going in there. And I really want to flood it because I want to soften that edge. I want to, I don't want it to flood it outside of the lines, but I do want to get rid of any of the transitions between the colors. I'm going to be careful around the edges though. I don't want to really get to the edges and end up pushing the ink on the outside of the drawing. If that does happen, then you can go in with a clear blender marker, which is, they shouldn't call it a blender, they should call it an eraser, because that's really what it does. You can go in with a clear marker and erase it. Basically what you're doing is you're pushing the ink back into the lines. So that's what your clear is for. I have a whole video on what a clear marker is for, or ways to use a clear alcohol marker, and one for water-based markers too. So if you are confused about what to do with a clear marker, I have a video with all different ways to use it. So please refer to that. Now, if you're not happy with that blend, I think that blend is absolutely adorable. But if you're not happy with it, if you want it smoother, repeat the steps until you like it. Just try not to push the ink on the outside of the lines. And that's the quick method. And for most things, it'll work pretty darn well. I want to color the ears. I'm going to do them pink. I'll do two pinks. That pink's bright, and then I'll do a lighter pink to blend it out. All right, so let's say that you don't have a lot of markers and you wanted to do a green deer or a blue deer. Let's do a blue deer because blue is a kind of a harder color to blend. So let's color a deer blue. And you don't have a lot of markers, but you got this color and you really like it. So you go ahead and you color your deer blue. And maybe all you have is a set of Sharpies because you're not sure if you want to invest any money in this marker hobby because, you know, you're not sure if you like it or not. And markers can be expensive and you don't know what brand you want to buy, but you do have some Sharpies at home and you want to just play and see what you think. And that's how I started, actually. I had a bunch of Sharpies in Bic markets, and like once a week I would go into AC Moore and I would buy a really pale Prismacolor, and I would just start collecting my really pale colors. And then I would use those to blend out with my Sharpies. And I have a video from many years ago on using the palette blending technique, where you scribble the brighter markers onto a dish or a palette or whatever you have, and then you pick up the darker color with a lighter color marker, and you can color that way, or you pick it up with a clear blending marker. So, you don't need to have 350 colors. And starting small and learning to use what you have is going to make you much more resourceful. So let's say you have one pastel Sharpie and it's blue and you like it and you want to do a blue deer, but you want some depth. So here's where your colored pencils can come in really handy. Colored pencils are generally a lot more affordable than markers, and they're a heck of a lot easier to use. So I'm just going to grab a couple different shades here. I got this nice teal. Let's see. I get a couple different shades of teal here. I think will work pretty well. That one looks a little too green. Maybe I should go with something a little more blue. Or maybe do something that's a little bit darker, and then yep. Okay, so then what I can do is I can go in, and it can be any brand of colored pencil. It can be Crayola. It can be, this is actually a budget pencil I have here. That one's I do have a Prismacolor too, but this one here is a budget pencil. And I can go in and I can add some shading with my pencil. And the nice thing about this is I don't have to rush, because the pencil's a dry media. I like colored pencil because it's not going to smudge or smear. And honestly, I think just this one color will do well for adding the shadow to this. Now this is a smooth cardstock. When you're using markers, you want to use a smooth cardstock. And pencils do not put down tons of pigment on smooth paper. Bristol's a really good option because it has a little more, it's smooth, but it does grab the pencil a little bit better than like smooth cardstock, but you're going to be able to get enough pencil down on this Nina to make it look nice. I can go in with this lighter tone. And I can make it as subtle or as bold as I want, but you are going to generally get a more subtle look with pencils than with markers. And then I can go in with my white and then really add some nice highlights. I can blend into the pencil if I have some area I want to lighten up or make it look a little bit more rich. But there's so many different ways to do this, and I'll probably go through the I'll probably use the pencils over these ink ones because they're just kind of just one shade. They're kind of bland looking, and I feel like they could really use a little bit more oomph, I'm just looking for a dusky pink color. Oh my gosh, I have like hundreds of pencils here. I cannot find the color that I want. I don't think that one's very different. But you get the idea. You can use markers over pencil, but it could lessen the life of your marker, just so you know. But there's 3 different ways to use your markers, so you can get a good, get a good amount of use from them. Get more use from your markers, I should say. You don't want them just sitting there in a drawer going to waste. All right. So now we should put some cards together, I think. My goodness, how long have we been crafting? And we have no cards. We've been at it for an hour. Oh my goodness. I hope you guys are having a good time. Oh, I see a question from the Thrifty Apprentice. Would you use the colored pencils to fill in missing marker shades, even if you were doing marker art versus card creation? Oh, totally. Absolutely. I would put like a base layer down and then use the pencils on top. But yeah, a lot of marker artists do that. That's not something I invented. It's not something that is only card makers. It is totally customary way to work. And you can find tutorials on that online as well. I have some, and there's some on other marker art channels. So go ahead and look and see what you can find. AB Designs asks, next to Copic, which alcohol marker would be the next gold standard? There's a lot of really Copic comparable ones. I think it depends on where you live and what your budget is. When I consider Copic comparable, I would say it needs to have refillable ink and a good color range. Probably sketch marker out of Russia would be the best, but you're not going to be able to find that everywhere in the world. But if you can, that's a really good option. Blick Studio markers is great. They don't have the color range, but they do have refills. I like Art and Fly better than Blick Studio because they have more colors and their refills are cheaper. Those three, I think Altenew also. Altenew, the stamp company, has great nibs, great markers. And then a step down from that would be like your Ohuhu brush nibs, your Artify brush markers. And those are not, they don't sell refill inks and you can't get open stock markers and stuff, but they're definitely a great one to go for. So I'm going to try to find the ones that are not wet here. No, oh my gosh, I just did these and they're already dry practically, but still they're going to be a little soft. So let's grab a couple of these. There, we got a couple backgrounds here. I'm going to grab my embellishments, get my inks out of the way. We got our deer. All right, I figured I was going to have all these extra backgrounds after doing this class, so I should get some more deer ready to go. So I've got some trees that I made just out of like freehand cutting, some just some cardstock. And when I was looking at Rudolph, because I was kind of inspired by Rudolph, like the look of Rudolph, and they had like these little their tree branches, their trees were like scalloped. They're like made of felt, and I thought that was a really cool look. So what I did was I grabbed my scallop scissors and some white cardstock, and I'm just making some like little strips of like scallop white borders. And you can make them so they kind of like get thick and thin. I think it's really like, I think with Rudolph, you have a really cool kind of like claymation, also handmade look to everything there. So make some neat little scallop borders like this. I don't know why these like click. Do your decorative scissors like kind of catch when you close them all the way and kind of snap shut? I wonder if there's something I can do to like prevent that. It's kind of annoying. If anybody knows, please let me know. Clark Fine Art asks, what alcohol brush pens have the same nibs as Copic? Art and Fly, Blick Studio, Altenew, Arteza. Well, Arteza doesn't feel exactly the same as Copic, but it's a foam rubber nib. The biannual brush used to. They've changed their body shape. I don't know if their nibs are the same, but they used to be the same. I'm probably forgetting some. Art and Fly. Oh, goodness. I'm probably forgetting some. I did a big marker showdown last year. If you check out that video, that has all the information that you would need to know. Sketch marker, obviously. Sketch marker. I just reviewed them yesterday. They have an awesome Japanese brush nib. I think it's just, you got to see what's available in your country and kind of go from there because, some things are equivalent, but the prices are so different depending on where you are. And I used a little, an old die cutter that I shall not name to cut a bunch of random trees out using their little handheld cutting device, which I will not name because it's kind of a slur, really. But I made a bunch of trees is the bottom line, the bottom line of that story. And I thought these would also work pretty well because some of these trees were a little too big. They were a little out of scale. So when I was making these trees, I guess I got my proportions off. I guess I could probably trim those down a little bit more. But I also thought these would be really cute too. Oh, Lisa's wondering if I have a business address for Christmas cards. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm not that I'm not that fancy. Oh, I think these will work really well. So I'm going to use this to make some details on these cards. And I think actually that one would be really cute too. So I just basically cut out a bunch of different Christmas trees and just had them ready to go. I like to assembly line style my cards, and I find that it's a lot more, it seems like it takes a long time when you're setting it up, but in the long run, your cards will go together pretty quickly. Lisa G is wondering how I use my waffle flower media mat. I'm kind of like hit or miss with it. Like I'll have times where I use it all the time, and then times where I hardly do. I have the original one, and I really like it, to be honest. I will use it for messy stuff a lot of times. Like if I'm doing, like I was just painting a bunch of, I can show you. I'll show you in a second because then you can let me know if I should do a tutorial of it because it's a class I'm doing for the library. So I was doing a project for the library. I was painting on mason jars and I needed to have a bunch of little colors out, and it was just perfect because you have spots for colors. It doesn't hold your ink like your I kind of wish the little squares were a smidgen bigger so that my ink cubes would fit in there. But you can press your ink cubes into them and make make a palette that way. Now the downside to that mat is that it stains, and that doesn't bother me at all, but I know a lot of people would be perturbed if they went and bought something because it's not cheap. I mean, I think it's well made and I don't think it's outrageous or anything, but I think a lot of people get perturbed about that. I think these are cute. I'm using this glue is actually matte Mod Podge, and I use that because it doesn't leave a snail trail because I'm kind of a messy gluer, so it doesn't leave that slick spot or shiny spot on my paper. I think I'm going to do a few of those. I like those. I have different colors of those trees as well. I was so psyched because my old die cutting machine, which I don't really talk about, a love-hate relationship with, it's still kicking, and I use it to design stuff with my computer. And I knew I had a bunch of generic blades for this machine because I refused to give that company any more of my money. and I found them yesterday, and I had forgotten where I stashed them. And for some crazy reason, I put them in my laminator. I was so psyched to find those. I'll take questions in a little bit. I am definitely not able to follow the chat very well. Oh my gosh, isn't that cute? Doesn't that look like, Holly Jolly Christmas? It looks like Rudolph. I love it. I'm impressed by simple things. I'm not real big on a lot of and it's not knocking the modern stamps that are coming out. I just think that a lot of them are very similar to stuff I already have. So I don't really see the point of buying a bunch of new stamps when I have stuff that I really like that I don't use enough. But please feel free to use whatever you like. And I'd rather kind of show you generic stuff that you can do at home. Like you could easily cut this out with a pair of scissors. There's nothing fancy about that. You could trace a cookie cutter or a clip art if you didn't, I kind of like these wonky little kind of like Hershey Kiss shaped trees too. Just freehand it. And then it looks unique, and then nobody else has the same card as you do. We'll do one more of those. That's cute. I like that. I also like cutting things in different scale is nice because then you can layer them up and get a little more dimension. And cardstock is cheap and cardstock is flat, so it doesn't really add a lot of postage. It probably wouldn't add any postage to add a few layers of trees, and it gives you a really nice visual depth, I think. And I'm always finding new ways to use my scallop scissors. I should have bought a good pair. I should have bought like Fiskars. I've got these Provocraft ones that were like $1, I think, back in the day. But man, if you you like a design and a decorative scissor, just buy it in Fiskars because they're so much nicer to use. I thought about cutting the scallops and the trees out of felt, but I don't have any fabric shears that will cut scallops out of felt, and I knew my hand cutting would not be sufficient. Then we need to trim off your little decorations here. Actually, let's let that dry so scissors don't get gross. To decorate our trees, I think I'm going to use some sequins, and I got to show you my sequin storage so you all can feel better about your choices in life. So I was like looking for sequins. This is my sequin storage. It is, and look, and it doesn't look that bad, right? This looks okay. This doesn't look that bad, but when you take out my organized baggies, I've got nothing but sequin soup at the bottom. So that's like, that's what I got going on. So if you felt bad about your storage situation, your organization, just think of my sequin drawer and feel so much better about your choices in life. So that's my sequin bin. That's what I got to deal with anytime I want to use sequins. But I did choose some colors I thought would look really kind of retro and whatnot. And I got them right here. Oh, and then when I was using the media mat, I divided my sequins into little cubbies, and that worked really good for another good use for my media mat. But now you got to kind of plan to use the media mat. Otherwise, your desk will be covered and you won't be able to fit it anywhere on your table. Now, I don't think this is the best glue for sequins. I really don't know what the best glue for sequins is because they often pop off. Like this one popped off, so I got to reglue a sequin there. So I don't know. I had a glue that I liked, and it was by Stampin' Up, and it had one of those like pins that had to go in the top of it to keep it like from clogging. It was an ultra fine tip. Like this is not fine tip, but it doesn't clog. So I will take the big messy glues. That's why I use Mod Podge because it will be invisible when it dries. This is a squeezy bottle from Dollar Tree. You get 2 for $1. Anyway, I love that glue from Stampin' Up, but I hadn't had it very long and I'd been using it regularly. And then one day I couldn't get and I had still 3/4 of a bottle left. I could not get the pin to go back in the nozzle. And I couldn't get it back in there. I couldn't replace it with another pin because it was so fine. And then the whole bottle went to waste. It was a great glue though. And I'm really bummed. And that's what seems to happen. It's like I find a really good glue, but it's like so strong. It's strong enough to hold sequins, but it's so strong that that it clogs, and I can never get it unclogged again. So I'm like using a toothpick, and it's a big mess, and I'm spilling it everywhere. So I don't know. I'm using matte Mod Podge for now. Hopefully one day I will get my act together. I like to use non-traditional Christmas colors. That's probably why these cards don't look specifically Christmas, but that's kind of good too, because then if you have a friend that doesn't celebrate Christmas, you can still send them a charming card. I try not to get the same color sequin next to each other. That annoys me, but I still end up doing that sometimes. Maybe I shouldn't be teaching. After all, maybe I shouldn't be teaching card making live stream. Doesn't know what she's doing. Why is she doing this on YouTube? That's how YouTube works, guys. You don't need to know what you're doing. You just need to start a channel. It's the ethos of YouTube. All right, let's do. I got to replace a gold sequin over here. I would like to find some fantastic way to store my sequins, but I honestly don't know if I'm committed to that project. That seems like it would take an awful long time for me to sort out my mess, and I can usually find a sequin pretty quickly. By the time I would get it all organized, sequins would no longer be in fashion. Actually, I'm not sure if they are anymore. I try to squish it in so the glue comes up through the hole and traps it. I don't know if it works or not. Oh, another glue that I had good luck with sequins, but I need to put it in a squeezy bottle apparently. It was the Jewel-It by, I think it's Aleene's. Oops, you don't belong there. You're breaking my cardinal sequin rule. You cannot be by a sequin of your ilk. Create to Bless says, we love you, Lindsay, and you do know what you're doing. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see, what one to go in the middle? Oh, decisions. I think I'll go with a dark green one. Ah, man, come on. Get in there. Oh, I have a couple of different dark green options. Look how fancy I am. I've got a really dark and a medium dark. I think I'll go with medium dark. I'm envious of those cute, some people have these, like, they're like a big Tupperware thing. And they have all these little like Tic Tac boxes in them, and they're all a different sequin, and they're so organized. I don't know if that'd work for me though, because I don't like to open several lids. I like things to be, I don't like to have to open more than one lid to get to something. There's probably some sort of syndrome about that, but I like to one lid at the most, and then get what I need to get. All right, I think that's enough sequins for one day. Now we can flip these over gingerly so we don't knock the sequins off, and trim off our excess scallops. That's cute. I'm telling you what, scallop Christmas trees are cute. Ooh, it's harder to cut that side than the first side. I wonder why. Oh, you know what? I should show you the project I'm thinking about doing a video on. Let's give that a second to dry. Let me show you. I just got to walk across my desk or walk around my desk, not across it. But let me get you these little projects. I'm thinking about doing a video on it, but maybe it's too simple. I don't know. But I'm teaching this at the library, and just these little mason jars. The library got donated a ton of mason jars, and so I've lit it on the inside, and then just decorated the outside, and I think it's kind of cute. And then we can put like a battery operated tea light in there, or fairy lights, and because this is clear glitter on the inside, it'll just kind of glow. I think it'll be really pretty. And then this is just another version. That was the ribbon I used last year to do my front porch, but standing from a distance, it just looked brown because the red and the green optically mixed from a distance. But what do you think? Is that good enough for a tutorial on YouTube? It's very easy and family friendly. Let me know, or should I just not bother? I think they're kind of cute. I was on the fence yesterday. I didn't know if they were cute or tacky, and maybe they're both. I don't know. I think I saw a question. Michelle A asks, what is the best white pen for accent work or on ink and watercolor? I started to ink my drawings and cannot find a good white pen. The Uniball Signo Broad is my favorite, and they're in 3 packs on Amazon for like $6, or also like a white Posca pen. And they're similar on Amazon. You can get actually a pack that's got 3 Poscas, all extra fine ones though, and 3 Uniball Signos for like $12. So that's what I would get, and see what you like. And I actually refill my Posca pens with white ink. Oh, we'll get some votes for the jars. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, did I miss some questions? I probably did miss some questions. I'll probably ask for them again at the end. Teresa Palmer says, can you use Prismacolor and Gamsol to blend? You sure can. Absolutely. That gives you a very similar marker look. Okay, Kevin Moore asked if I do other crafts, and I think a bunch of people answered him. Yes, I do all kinds of things, but generally on the channel, I do mostly painting and card making. All right, let's get the show on the road. Let's cut the back of these again. Let's get these other scallops trimmed. Man, so many people have destashed their decorative scissors, but I use mine all the time. I even use my paper crimpers sometimes. And I still have my old teal Big Shot. And it's like, well, why would I replace it? It seems like people with newer Big Shots, they're like breaking down left and right. Like, yeah, I think I'll keep my old loose teal one forever until it absolutely will not cut. Okay, let's get rid of those scraps. Tidy up a little bit. Okay, oh, I think that's cute. I like those little trees. Well, let's see. Do we want to layer some other trees? Those are kind of cute. I also grabbed a bunch of tags because I'm like, I am going to be making some tags or something with the leftovers, because I'm going to have a lot of leftovers, I think. Last year, we had to Vista print our Christmas cards. Jason took one of my paintings and used it and Vista printed them because I was not fit to make Christmas cards. I was overwhelmed. Okay. So maybe I want to do a little, do some other trees in the background. I don't know though. I'm not sure if these like more realistic trees match. I don't think those match as well, but maybe some of the simpler ones. So what I did was I just cut a bunch of trees. I took 3 different shades of paper, and that way I'd have some variety. So when I was making these cards up, I would be able to, or if I was making tags or whatever, I'd be able to, have some choices. Oh, those might work with that, but maybe a brighter color. Clustering objects often look good than just having something by itself. I kind of like that. This is that textured double-sided paper. Die cuts with a view. I really like that. Although I have to say that die cutting with an electric machine with white core paper can sometimes be not look so great, because if your blade isn't completely sharp, you can get some tear away, and then you can really see it, and you wouldn't even notice it if it was like a if it was colored all the way through cardstock. I like that earthy green, but I don't think it's going to work for this. So at this point, I just want to kind of piece these things together and see what looks good. I can always take something away if I don't like the way it looks. And you can trim whatever hangs off the edge. I can just trim. I don't know if I want so many trees. I think 2 is probably pretty good. And now we've got our beautiful little deer, and I've got so many different colors to play with and choose from. Ooh, maybe this pink one, because there's lots of pink. The pink and the light green, I think, look nice together. I try to find some contrast. So like I didn't want to use that light green deer on this one because that tree is lighter green. Of course, if I want to fit all 3 in here, there's only so many ways I can do it. Ooh, I like to have things in between other things too, if you can layer up. So like, now if the tree's in front, the bottom of the tree has got to be lower than the deer. Then we have that little tree in behind. I don't know if this is as tedious as it feels to me. It feels kind of tedious to watch. Hopefully not. Oh, I just love that peeking from behind the tree. Like they've been decorating it. I do have some snowballs here. On this card, I did snowballs at the bottom. Now the thing is that this is going to be more difficult to mail. I would probably only do this for like a hand-delivered card. Oops, there we go. And what these are these, Prima makes them, and also Brea Reese. I don't think they make them anymore because they were on clearance. I got them cheap. But they are like little hard, I think they're called page pebbles. But see what they look like? They're like little stones almost, and they're kind of a slightly grayed white. So after I glue them down, I let them dry, and I brush on some acrylic paint, and then I sprinkle some glitter. And I think it just looks really pretty. But this is you want to hand this card out because it's really, look how thick it is. It's like almost half an inch thick. That would not go through the little slot thing that the post office has to test whether your cards can go. But I love the dimension on that card. This I just free-handed the paste on tree. I'll show you how to do that actually. I want to do that right now because I think that's kind of a nice look. Let's do a darker tree. Oh my gosh, do I get distracted or what? So let's go get our Dreamweaver embossing paste. Let's see. I like to use a smaller palette knife. Do I have a smaller palette knife right out here? Oh, I bet I do. Oh, yes, I do. Hold on a second. right here. Because I have my big box of palette and I was ready to go to the library for my class next week. Yeah, I'll do a video, and that way if anyone doesn't finish in class, they can watch the video at home. So yeah, you can just take this this embossing paste, or like I said, you can take your latex caulking. I recommend the white paintable latex caulking. Get a tube of it and just squirt a little bit out. The downside to that is, I mean, obviously you can't put it back in the tube, so you kind of want to do all your projects at once that you need it for. I know it looks messy, but once you put the glitter on it, it's going to be gorgeous. It's kind of like frosting. Actually, it feels like frosting. If you've ever frosted anything, you know how to do this. There we go. Wipe your palette knife off or plug it in some water. Ideally, wipe it off because they can rust. And then, obviously, don't do this over your workspace. Just sprinkle on some glitter. And there, you have an embellishment ready to go for some future project. But I just want to show you that I mentioned, I think in the video description, I mentioned freehand embossing paste, and that's just what I meant by that. And I wanted to make sure that I lived up to my claims. All right, I think we can probably start adhering stuff. Oh, we need a deer looking that way. Do a blue deer looking that way. That's pretty. No pink on this one. I might put some little star embellishments or something on there at some point, but not today. I'm actually going to use some dry adhesive. Whenever I've got a fairly flat surface, I like to do the dry adhesive for my first layers. So just make sure you don't have any sticking out or it will show and be sticky on the front. I like to have stuff come up in front of the moon too. I think that looks nice. And this one's in behind, so I'll do dry adhesive on her as well. You can actually do a little glue too if you don't think you have enough. The dry adhesive can kind of clamp it, and the glue will give it a more secure bond. But the dry adhesive will keep it in place. Got our layers and our clusters. Now for this guy, I'm going to use a thin foam tape. So I've got this stuff here. This is just a really thin foam tape. And yes, we're going to use our favorite yellow squares, so don't worry. Is that where that was? I think so. All right, now foam squares. Foam squares are a little bit thicker, so we'll have a little more dimension. And these will go through your postal. Oh gosh, those were not very dry yet. These should go through your postal system, no problem. I'm just going to see. What I'll do is I'll put foam squares on the rear end of the deer, and I'll just use glue on the other end because it will be on top of the tree, so it'll already have some thickness behind it. I'm going to shove this stuff up and come off the off where you can see. That's not very helpful, Lindsay. And I cut the foam squares down so that they can fit what I need to glue. which I'm sure everybody has thought of already. And I love that dimension. I think it looks really nice. And sometimes I'll just put a clear block on top so that it can hold it still while it dries. You have more options with this compact little napping or laying down deer because it's got some better surface area. I'm going to cut one of these in half for the head. And if you have a really bumpy card but it's not super thick, you can put a piece of cardstock on the you put a piece of cardstock over it when you put it in the envelope, and then it will help it like not get destroyed when it goes through the mail. So what I do in the event of something not touching when I want it to glue is I just set a clear block down like that and just let it chill for a bit while it dries. All right, we'll glue these down. You can also, if you forget how your card is arranged, you can take a photo of it with your phone, and then it doesn't seem like it should be that hard to remember, right? Right? You know, it's like, seriously, I just moved it. I'm gluing it down. Why can't I remember where all these pieces go? But I don't know. Happens to me all the time. Like, actually, that was probably over there a little bit, but I didn't want it directly under that big peak. I'm using glue because it's faster. Is that there? I think that was about there. Let's hope so. I use, I'm actually going to use glue on this because I don't want to flip it on its face to put the the tape runner on it because I'm afraid my sequins aren't dry and they're going to smear. And foam squares for these two. Anybody doing any traveling for Thanksgiving? We don't have too far to go. Just down the road a piece. About an hour and 15 minutes. That's not too bad. I kind of wish I didn't well, actually I used the skin and did my cutting for me, but I kind of wish that the front legs didn't cut apart because that would be so much easier to use my foam squares. Oh, my chat wasn't moving. I have no idea what you guys are doing or talking about. Alderman Dirt's going across the street. I like that travel plan. That's nice. Having things just overlap each other makes a huge difference. Hope you found this enjoyable. Gosh, I feel so slow when making cards. Let's go on the head. I think, yeah, I'll just glue that one later. You don't need to see me do this 3 times. It's kind of ridiculous. I think you've gotten the. Oh man, I put that tree on crooked. That's all right. All right, I got to put a block on that one too because it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to stick. All right, so now I need to choose some card bases. We'll do this later. This one I'm just going to do off camera because seriously, it's the same darn thing. To choose card bases, I try to find a color that I think will accent everything and maybe pop a little bit. So for like this one here, I'd probably do pink or yellow. This one, I'd probably do green or purple. And probably green because I think sometimes when you choose the more vibrant color, it just kind of draws it all together. And I'm going to grab my card base thing, which I did not pull over to my table. And now I've got so many things I've thrown on the floor between me and it that, oh, friends, I got a mess here. It's going to take me forever to clean up this mess. All right. Okay. Let's see. So I'm thinking pink. How is that shade? That's not too bad. And I'm thinking like a lime green. Ooh, I like the lime green. Oh, lime green looks good on that too, actually. Wait, how would pink look with that? I'm doing a lime green on that one. Green on that one. I think actually maybe purple or a purpley pink. Oh, or this horrible color that's in like every cardstock variety pack ever that you can never find anything to use it with. Would that work good with that? You know, it might not be so bad if you're just seeing a sliver of it though. That's not too bad. Boy, I don't think I cut this very good. I think I need to take a need to trim it a little bit. That's not too bad. I like that. And I think I like that just fine. Yeah, I like that just fine. You know, if you had like a little Santa Claus in the reindeer stamp, that would be really cute in front of the moon. You'd want to do that before you do the embossing paste, but that just occurred to me. That would be super cute to stamp right in the sky. I'm going with that. Another tip, card making tip, would be just go with the first thing that looks good. Go with the first thing that works, because if you go for perfection, if you like keep searching until you find the perfect sheet of paper or the perfect stamp or the perfect embellishment, you will not get much done. Go with the first thing that will work. My advice for clothes shopping too, go with the first thing that looks good. You start to go, blind after a while. I was going to trim that down, but I guess I'm not now. I think it's fine. Nobody's going to receive this card and be like, that border doesn't look quite right. I knew it could be better. They don't know. They won't know. They don't know what it could be. They don't need to know. That could be between you and me, guys. Oh, another tip. ATG gun. If you have one of these massive tape burner things, I recommend getting your refills at Tape Depot, because they're like $1.20 a roll instead of, whatever they are at the craft store for acid-free scrapbook. You get the acid-free scrapbooking tape, 1/4 inch, and that's the same as the ATG. I bought it like a box of 144 and split it with friends many years ago. That worked out great. I think that looks pretty good. Oh my goodness, hour and a half. Boy, it flies. Okay, I think I grabbed some tags. I thought it might be fun to use up some scraps and make some tags. I think these are so cute. Oh my gosh. So if you guys want to hang out, make some tags, just kind of, craft and whatnot, then I will. If you guys are sick of me, I totally understand. But maybe we'll just make a few tags. Gosh, these are cute. Aren't they cute? I like them. So you could do more, get more embellishments. You could, keep it simpler. You can also do I also grabbed this stuff here. I thought this might be kind of cute with like on one of the trees, maybe just, this is some pom-pom trim. I got it at the Dollar Tree a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. And sometimes I wrap presents with it, but I thought that also might be kind of cute to decorate the trees. I think these would squish down enough that they would go through the mail, no problem. You might not want to wrap them around the back though. So I don't know, maybe that's more of a pain. And I'll show you something that was really tacky looking that didn't end up working. Oh, I might have put it away already. Oh, this stuff right here. I thought I could trim down this mesh stuff, but it was so stiff and really, really tacky looking when I did. So, not everything works out. That's just a little reminder that not everything ends up working out, and that's fine, because you experiment and you and you learn and you play, and that's how it goes. All right, let's make some tags, shall we? I've got some stuff. Oh, let's look at our background from the beginning. I see it's got kind of soft. It got soft because we did the spray shortly after we inked it. If we let it sit longer and sprayed it, I think we would have gotten more crisp looks. But I think that's really pretty still. And that could be chopped into tags or used for card bases or whatever. But I thought I would just return to that. And here's our our glittery snow. Look how thick that is. Isn't that cool? All right. So I just grabbed some washi tape. I did grab some stamps and some embossing tinsel so we could do and I grabbed these stamps because I thought these would be good on tags because it's from Santa, do not open till Christmas, 'tis the season, happy Christmas, wishing you a sweet season, no peeking. I thought no peeking would be really good on a tag. Ho, 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 merry wishes to from, oh, what fun. So I don't imagine these are still current. I haven't gotten a new Stampin' Up! Stamp set in ages, so these probably are not current. I think they probably change them every year. But anyway, I'm sure you have something that will work. This is kind of fun. I recommend it for you. You're going to use the embossing tinsel, which is like a glitter and clear embossing powder that you stamp with a color underneath so that because I don't think the glitter will show up enough to, oh, hey, Sheila. Thank you. She loves watching me craft. Oh, probably, I think if you don't like the project, I think you can feel confident about your ability if you watch me craft. You're like, hey, anybody can do it. So true, so true. But I thought these would all be really good on tags. And I just grabbed some shipping tags because I buy these in bulk and I don't feel precious about them. So I can use them and not worry. And we've got all kinds of stuff left over that we can play with. So that's good. And I got some washi tape here. I've got my little offcuts, which I think would be kind of fun to play with. So let's just start doing some gluing. I don't really have anything planned for this. Oh, I like that though. That's kind of cute. All right, let's just go with instincts, guys, when you're doing this. If they don't come out, they don't come out, and that is fine. If they don't come out, if mine doesn't come out, then, so what? I mean, you're watching a free YouTube video. It's not like, you're out any money. And, oh, that's kind of cute. It's so simple. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm blowing it down. And you'll be so happy to have a big basket of tags in another month when you are feverishly wrapping gifts. I'm going to do a little wet glue as well as a dry because I want to make sure it's really adhered down. Oh, everyone's talking about postage. I got a guide and it has a little slot on it from the guy that used to own Green Sneakers. I went to a trade show and he had a bunch of those he would hand out, kind of like business cards. It was really cool. So do I want to let it hang over or do I want to trim it? I think I want to trim the top, but I might let the bottom stuff hang over. I was at a quilt shop this weekend, or when I went to Freeport, and they got these bags of scraps. Yes, I buy scraps. I buy scraps at the quilt shops. I don't have scraps of my own. I don't have quilty scraps. I got paper scraps. And I thought these would be really cute to use on cards and tags. So let's see what we got. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Ooh, look at that one. Ooh, I like that. Oh, I think I want to use this one. This one's pretty too, though. Oh, this looks like the trees. This is really cool. All right. And then they can just be tied onto the package. And I've heard from people, and they say they keep my tags and they use them as bookmarks. So I bet you'll find that that's the case. Oh, I don't have fabric scissors here. Hopefully I can cut them with these. Sometimes, oh, that cuts really well. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Use the force, Lindsay. Use the crafty force. Oh, I like that. I feel like we need a little something, a little pop of something. Where is that glitter tape stuff? I don't know if that's what it needs or not. I don't have a lot of Christmas embellishments. But maybe. Oh, I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'll set this aside and I will work on something else. And then I can come back to it. That's usually a good idea. Oh, I did get some papers last year. I bought a couple new pads of paper because I also had a hard time finding papers that I like. And oh, hopefully I have some. Oh, I got scraps in here. Perfect. grab some of these scraps so we don't have to cut into new paper. Unless I see something that's really awesome. I think there was some postage stamps. Oh, look at this. Has one of those sheets that has all the things you can cut apart. I love cut aparts. I think I'm going to cut one apart because those are fantastic. Love those. Because then look at all the tags we have almost already made. Okay, am I going to be able to fit my trimmer up here? See, I box myself in. Do you guys box yourselves in? And then, like, you have no place to go? There's no room. At least I found my trimmer. I should put the medium mat out, and then that would just like save me some space because I wouldn't be able to. I'd probably just end up overlapping that too. I think I'll just cut the long strips and I cut the rest by hand with a scissor. Oh my gosh, those are cute. I love pink on holiday stuff. Those will go good in my deer. Anytime a paper pad has like the tags and the little sayings and things like that, a scrapbook pad, I love those. I feel like I get so much use out of those cut apart embellishments. Wow, it's 181 people watching this. That boggles my mind. Thanks, guys. You've helped this lady's self-esteem, and I appreciate it. All right. What are we going to make? Oh, I don't even know what we're making. It's so exciting. Like with the cards, I knew what I was making, but now I don't have a clue. Let's see if I can cut a straight line. I think I have some long-handled scissors over on the other side of the room in my teaching stuff to go to the library, but I've got several obstacles in between me and that, so I think that I will not go. Although there's 181 people that could call 911 if I tripped over something and if I'd fallen and can't get up, there'd be plenty of people that could have notified the authorities. Oh, I wonder. I have this stamp. I have a couple postmark stamps that are Christmassy that are so nice, but I don't think I have them in here, which is foolish. I should have them in here because it's Christmas time, and I use them all the time. That's okay. I can add postmarks later. I do have just a generic postmark I could plop on there. But again, I've got the obstacle of card making between me and the shelf that that's on. Look at that. I love those. I'm going to have all my Christmas tags made. I didn't do a very good job trimming this, guys. Look at that. I got a whole sliver of... That's why I like decorative edge scissors, because you can't tell if you're cutting straight or not. I got to do the big scrapbook calendar. Every year I make my mom I print out a calendar on cardstock and I bind it with my bookbinder, and then I scrapbook on all the pages. So you have like a scrapbook layout and the month calendar all year long. So you have a new layout for every month. And I got to get cracking on that. I've been debating whether or not I want to print out my photos like I usually do at home, or if I want to just upload everything to, I don't know, Walgreens or Walmart, or I don't know who does it. I think Walgreens and Walmart both do that. Does anyone have any? Because they're the closest. I have to go all the way to Bangor if I want to go to Target or Sam's Club. So I was just thinking Walgreens because, you know, you can be in and out of that store super quick. Has anyone printed their photos at Walgreens? If you have, can you let me know? Sheila asks, is this live in place of the usual Wednesday live? I just happened on you today. Sheila, yes, I'm doing this. I don't think I'll get a chance to do another live this week, although I will have, hopefully. Actually, I'm working. Oh, you want to see? I'm working on, sneaky peek time. This is what I'm doing for Critique Club. I'm not done it yet, but I started filming that this morning, and I'm going to finish it up this afternoon and have it up in Critique Club. But, and they'll have a time lapse of it sometime this week on YouTube. Yes, this will be the live in place of the one I usually do Wednesday or Thursday because of Thanksgiving. And today, the kids are in school today, and they will be off starting tomorrow through Sunday. So I didn't know what sort of filming situation I would have. So I wanted to make sure I did get a live up, and I'm really enjoying them. And I thought this would just be kind of something fun and different to do. Cynthia says, my Walgreens had a sale yesterday. I printed 45 by 7s of a cat as a flat card for only $17 with envelopes. Oh, that was a sale. Oh, that's nice. That must be like a holiday card sale. I don't think they're too expensive as far as getting 4x6 prints done. But like, do you remember the day, if you guys were scrapbookers, I got so much more done back in the day when I would take my roll of film and I would go to Walmart and I would drop it off until like the 1 hour. And then I would do my errands, or maybe I'd drop it off early in the day and pick it up on the way to a scrapbooking crop. And I would have that stack of photos, and nothing would be precious and nothing would be expertly lit or expertly edited. It would just be, you get what you get. And I got so much more scrapbooking done back then than now, when I can like make a photo be absolutely perfect, and I have nicer camera equipment, and I have, photo editing software that can do whatever. I do not get nearly as much done. I'm glad you caught me too, Sheila. I want to say Shiloh because it was a girl parent in my daughter's Girl Scout troop, and her name was spelled like Sheila, but her name was Sheila. And I don't know. I could have been mispronouncing your name all along, I guess. Yells asked, will you be doing some videos using your Paper Craft Society box? Yes, I'll be doing a live stream on the Craft Stash Facebook page. And I don't think they put that in their YouTube channel too. I don't know how that works. They do the tech. I just call in basically next month. So it'll be, by the time everyone will have a chance, everyone that ordered the Paper Craft Society box, all the subscribers will have had it by then. And I'll be doing a live stream with it. I have a bunch of projects that I made with them, and I haven't been able to share it yet. They've been making me keep a secret. But anyway, yeah, totally. This is kind of tough about these papers, though. They like, that's a pretty stripe. That pink and white stripe is so pretty. So when you do cut them apart, you have to like sacrifice something. Oh, I like that reindeer. Oh, look at those birds. Sorry, stockings. Maybe next time for you. I love the stuff in the Paper Craft Society box. It's been like, it was so much work. I don't think I would do it again because it was so much work. But I think it's a really good box. I think the stuff in there, people are not going to be like, destashing in a, in a month. I think the stuff that will be long time keepers. Oh, I thought that was another question. There probably were. But I'll take some questions at the end. That way folks watching the replay, if there are any. That's good. Pretty stuff on both sides. They will be able to skip past it if they want to. Now, if you tear, there's a thing when you're tearing paper, if you want to get the decal edge, if you want to get the white showing, the part you tear towards you will not have a white edge, and the part you tear away from you will have a white edge. Isn't that neat? So I want to have a white edge because I like that look. So I'm tearing this edge away from me. And then if I could just trim that with a paper trimmer and have one that's not a white edge. So I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just what you like, honestly. But I'm going to have so many tags made. I'm going to win Christmas. Of course, I don't have very much shopping done yet, but the tags will be done. Or I could use the other side of the paper, and I could use, but that's got a white background. And the white edge isn't that impressive when you have a white background. That's kind of cute. Oh, you know what? I want to make that look like a postage stamp. I've got to get my postage stamp decorative scissors. Can I make it, guys? I'm traversing the craft supplies, trying to get to the decorative edge scissors. I got them. We're good. And I did not harm myself. Even better. I'm going to use some of that mixed media paper because that's within reach. That's here. It does seem like kind of a waste, but it's as cheap as cardstock, so why not? Yeah, let's paste that down. Make ourselves a little faux postage. That's probably overkill. Oh, what will we make? Surprises, surprises. We've done in time to make dinner. I worked late last night, so by the time I came upstairs, they'd gotten desperate. They'd already made themselves dinner. but I know one of my kids is going to be home late. Well, not until 5:30, so I've got some time, and I already know what I'm making. I feel like as long as I know what I'm making, then I don't feel like the stress and anxiety about like, what am I going to put on the table? Oh, I should have cut the tree smaller, but I'm going with it. It's fine. Let's see. We must have some beautiful washi tape we can add to this masterpiece. I'm feeling traditional. Some red snowflakes. This washi tape is kind of strange. It's from the Dollar Tree, and it's kind of a strange texture, and sometimes it doesn't want to hold, so it's great for tags because it's just going to last for, a month. And then if it stops sticking, then, well, we had a good run. It's not that like washi paper that like usually washi tape is made out of. Let's see what that looks like. I mean, these don't need to be masterpieces. They're that would be a good place for a stamp, though. Do we have a stamp we can fit? Ooh, I should have stamped first. Could do a to and from. Could scoot that down, do a to and from, but then this. Oh, well, yeah, I guess there could be room to write. Now, to and from can go in the back. I don't want to do that. Oh, I could stamp on something, though, and trim it out. I wonder, actually, though, I wonder if I stamped that with black and then use tinsel on it, if it would show up. I probably should I'm going to do a bolder stamp and do that technique. Let's see how this works, guys. Hopefully the heat doesn't take my washi tape off, but okay. Stamp lock. If you're afraid you're going to like twist your stamp, if you put your stamp down, face down, and then pick it up with your stamp lock, oh, I like this one better. It won't get like distorted, so that way if you're like stamping something that you need to die cut afterwards, then it won't get all out of shape. I'm gonna use black, I think, for this one, because I'm gonna use the silver embossing tinsel on it. I like this brand of ink too. It's VersaFine Clair. It's got a brighter palette than the old VersaFine colors, but I guess it's pretty much the same ink. I do not have a squishy surface under here, so I'm really just hoping it's going to stamp good. If not, I'll have to get a piece of foam. But I don't really have room for a piece of foam right now because it's fine. I think. Ooh. Oh, I forgot to put the thingy. I forgot to use the embossing bag, so I don't know. I might have powder everywhere, but it's just tinsel, so hopefully. Let's heat her up and see. You have to let your heat tool heat up for a second before you do this tinsel, because you can scorch it pretty easily. So you want it hot. And then it's kind of hard to see when it changes, but it's going to go, your black is going to look a lot blacker. The ink that you stamped with underneath will look a lot stronger. See how that H is starting to get a little stronger looking? It doesn't really get raised with the tinsel. It gets just shiny. And that's why I don't use clear ink with it, because it doesn't show up enough, and it's hard to tell when you're done embossing because you can't see that change in color. I'm hoping this is bold enough that it will show up on that red. And I hope the tape doesn't do anything weird. I don't recommend this heat tool for embossing because it's not as hot as like most embossing heat guns. It doesn't really look that great on the tape, but make sure it heated. It's hard to tell. Yeah, I guess it did. What do you do with my tree? I lost my tree. Here it is. I'm not that happy with the sentiment, but it's a tag and it's done and it's fine. It's still a pretty cute tag, I think. And I'll put some beautiful ribbons. I wonder if I had any. Oh, I do have some red. These might be too pinky though, so I might have to go with green. But I think there's something kind of. Oh, that's kind of pretty. I think that'll work. So serious ASMR with all the crinkling near my microphone. Either I'm sorry about that or you're welcome. I'm not sure which. Thank you, Robin McKenzie. She says she loves these cards. I appreciate it. I'm having a good time. All right, I think that's pretty cute. We'll put that over with the other one and we'll make some more. Let's see. We got this kind of funky Santa. I hear somebody has just come through the door. I sent a text to my kids to ask them to let the dog out when they get home. She would not go out for me earlier because she's used to a walk at 3 o'clock and she likes to wait to go out until it's walkie time. I like that. I kind of like that. I mean, those colors don't really go together per se, but ooh, from Santa. I like that. Let's do that. Because, you know, sometimes we have to be Santa's helpers, right? That's something kids don't know, that sometimes Santa asks parents to help him out and says, can you wrap this for me? I'm pretty busy. And so as parents, we have to do that. And as parents, we're happy to. Because Santa can't be everywhere. All right, this time, first I'm going to put this silver tinsel back so I can get the gold tinsel out. You are watching how I actually craft, guys. Now, I hate to think of the microplastics contribution I'm making to the world. Gold. I vacuum it up though, so all trapped in vacuum cleaner bags. Oh, I forgot to use the embossing bag again. I like to do gold, red under gold. I think that looks good. That's a cute stamp. All right, embossing time. Yeah, I think red ink, gold tinsel is going to be my go-to. These tags, Claudia, are about 2 1/4 by 1, 2, 3, 4 3/4, I would say. I can't remember what number that is. There's a certain number that it corresponds to. I can't tell if these are. Man, this one's hard to tell with the gold powder and red ink, though, if it's done or not. I don't want to scorch it, but I think it's done. Get it from the back. I think it's done. It's got a nice flashy shine to it, so let's hope so. If not, we're going to have smear, but the world's going to keep on ticking, so I'm not going to worry about it. Let's adhere this down. I also don't like to waste any if I've like handmade paper, I've hand inked paper. I like say I want to use every scrap of it because of all the effort that goes into it. I'm going to scooch that off the edge of the tag a little bit. And I'm going to do a little of that green tape, I think. I think I'll trim it. This tape has a backing on it. This is from the Dollar Tree, actually. I don't know if they still sell it or not. The only thing I don't like about it is kind of difficult to store. Because it wants to unspool, so you want to keep the... Oh, for crying out loud. This is not sticky at all. What the heck? I don't recommend this tape. It's not sticky. Look at this. What a ripoff. I only bought that like 5 years ago. Let's see if there's a date on there. I don't even think this is the, I don't think this is the, no, this isn't the box it came in either. It was another Dollar Tree tape. I want my dollar back. All right, we're gluing this puppy down, I guess. I think I'll let Santa hang off the edge too. I didn't cut that very straight. Let's see. Oh, I see a question. How many handmade cards like this do you send out? Generally, I would say probably about 60 or 75 or so. But I tend to do them. I used to do them all the same, but that's terribly boring. So I usually do small batches like of 12. I can't get that adhesive. I have too much adhesive on the back. So let's see if I can roll it off. Oh, good. I can roll it off. If you're quick, you can kind of roll off extra adhesive. And since it's kind of got some prettiness on the back, I don't think I really have to do anything else to that. Let's get a ribbon. I love how you don't have to be precious when you're making a big batch of something because, you know, there's always another do-over. There's always another tag to make. I think that's kind of pretty. Maybe it's clashy. I don't know. I like it. I think Christmas is kind of like clashy anyway. You know, it's you know, clashy in the most wonderful way. It's clashy the way a Christmas tree with all sorts of ornaments collected over a lifetime is. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, goodness, that was not set. I just smeared a bunch of the ink off of there. I'm going to heat that again and hope for the best. You know what? Maybe I should have shaken. I don't think I shook this up. And I think the clear powder can separate from the glitter. Yeah, shake up your tinsel, guys. Because I don't think there was enough clear powder to hook that. I'll have to make sure I don't send this to somebody that gets irked by loose glitter. I don't mind it. Some people get so upset when they get a glittery card in the mail and it like glitters everywhere, but that doesn't bother me. I think that's kind of cute. That's all right. Why not? All right, I got 3 tags. First one, I'm not sure it's done or not, but we got our cute little Santa birds. Now, what should we do with them? This paper kind of look nice with that, I think. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm just going to trim this with my postage scissors. See, these don't catch. You know, I can go all the way and cut this, and it doesn't snap shut like those cheapy Craft ones do. I don't even know if I can buy Fisker scallop scissors anymore. I should look for those. I should ask Santa for some. I'm going to put that right there. What do you think about that? I'll wipe the glitter off of it first so that it will stick. It's like trying to stick, like, it's like trying to glue on a bed of sand or something. It's so sticky. I mean, it's so It's so sandy. You know what? I'm going to bring that down. The tag will be a little bit longer because I'm going to bring it down below. There we go. I can't believe I have not lost these scissors yet today. I wonder if I can just edge the bottom of this. If it's down low enough, I can just shape the bottom of that with a scallop. These horrible scallop scissors. Oh, I think I can. Especially when I don't close them all the way and they don't snap shut on me. Oh, that's kind of cute. All right, we got this. And so you got a bird, we got a mouse. I can't believe I don't have any red glittery tape. What does it need? What does it need? Let's see, it's more corally than purpley. What other papers do I have? Oh, what about a Christmas tree? Where are my Christmas trees? Where did those Christmas trees go? Oh my gosh. There we go. Like it's literally a ceramic dish. It's not like I could have dropped it. Christmas trees in it. Cute paper's hard. It's like I don't want to cover up that little mouse or the bunny. Maybe I'll just leave it like that. I feel like I would like to have a little bit of border around that. Oh, I actually have little scraps of cardstock here. Do I have any red? That's the question. That will work. I cut down all of my scraps. Like this was the beginning of the pandemic. I cut down all of my scraps to either like 3x4 or 4x5 1/4. So I had like card bases or just kind of a smaller general size. And that's really been helpful because I have them all in bins in here in a little cart. Now I've lost my scissors. Oh, why did I say it? I jinxed myself. Here they are. And that really helped out. And then I took all my other scraps, all my pattern papers and stuff, and I made serendipity papers where you just kind of like take a piece of cardstock and you just start gluing. And then I trimmed those down to card base sizes, card front sizes. So I have a bunch of those ready to go whenever I need them. And that worked out really well. Oh, I kind of like that. That's kind of modern and simple. Oh, this has a little stitching on it. This side has stitching, so I'm going to do it that way. I don't know if you can hear the commotion upstairs, but the dog is playing with the kids. Oh, Lila. Okay, so I need to only have glue on half of this. Sheila asks, who makes your scissors with a stamp edge? Well, you know how well they cut. They are Fiskars, man. They are the best brand of decorative scissors. I should have a sponsorship with them. Fiskars, can you hook me up with a good set of scallop scissors? They're like, who is this woman and do we want to be associated with her? Probably not. Oh, sure would be nice if I had a cute piece of washi tape that would coordinate with that. These little gingerbread, maybe. Oh, I think that would work. I don't know, actually. And furthermore, I don't think the tape's going to stick very long. I don't know. Yay or nay on the tape, guys? What do you think? Yay or nay on that? I don't know. I'll see if there's any questions. You guys can vote. Tracy Viss says she can't hear anything. Oh, she can't hear the upstairs, the animals. Okay. Nay, nay, nay. Oh, one yay. I think the nays have it, though. All right. I don't think there's any new questions anyway. Yeah. Look at that. It wouldn't even stay stuck long enough for me to get the vote. Yeah, that tape. I don't know. I think I need to use this up this Christmas, and I should probably just let it go. I've had it for a long time. Let's find a piece of ribbon that will go. Maybe one of these ribbons, because I've got that nice olivey color in there. I like the homespun look that these scraps give my cards. I'm so glad I bought them. They were only like $1 a bag from Cotton Weeds in Freeport, Maine. Yeah, it made a ton of them. I'm like, what a great idea for. And I'm not a huge ribbon fan, but I like this. I think I like how it's kind of like funky and organic looking. And it's literally scraps, you know. It would have just, you know, I love things that are. I gotta offset my microplastic problem here. So I gotta be into recycling and reusing. Not funny, I know. I'm gonna get letters. I think that's all right, and I can stamp something on the back. That'll be cute on a present. How many more of these should we do, guys? Let's see. Let me look through these little tags. I like using these, and I will see how many I feel like making, and then that can. That's okay. Oh, happy holidays. They got the sentiments already. I've got my fill of deer today, I think. Well, snowman's cute. Like that one. I like that too. The outside cookies. I actually have some cute cookie stamps. Maybe I should just say I'm going to do like 3 more or something, because, oh, look at the mouse. I like the ones that have the sentiments on. Then I don't have to stamp anything. Oh, those hollies are nice. You know what would be pretty, guys? Craft tags. I should have cut some craft tags. Maybe I'll have to do that. Yeah, you're not even seeing my whole table, guys. You're seeing my cutting mat. You're not even seeing like the fringe. The fringe is bad. Oh, that's cute. Oh, I could cut that out and add it to another tag. Wait a minute. What if I cut that out? And this, my friends, is why I have a skin and cut machine. My scissor skills do not progress past kindergarten. I think this needs to go on something. It's too much on there, but too bad it wasn't small, because I think that's really cute. Well, I could cut, yeah, because then that doesn't look like a Christmas tree. I like that. That's pretty cute. I'm putting it there with a foam square. Putting it there with a foam square. That's good. That could be our catchphrase. Like, I don't know. I can't think of a catchphrase. Putting it there with a foam square, with a yellow foam square, which I never will run out of. When I do run out, it's time to retire. When I run out of the yellow foam squares. Clark Fine Art says, keep creating away. I am enjoying this as I clean up and organize my studio. Hey, that's great. I do that too. I love listening to like people's live streams when I'm cleaning, because I feel like I'm being productive, but I'm also being social. That's cute. Okay, I like that. You know what else would be cute? If I had some little heart stickers or, oh yeah, let's cut out some hearts. Look, we got paper right here. I could punch them, but my punches are in the other room. See if I can cut a heart without folding the paper in half. I don't know if I'm that talented. And the Grinch's heart grew 3 times that day. That's what that looks like. Move the paper, not the scissors. Top tip. It also feels like it's a very ecologically friendly card, doesn't it? Handle with care. Could be handle a forest with care. There's so many deep meanings in this tag. Did you know that? Who needs punches? Who needs dies? Who needs products? Who needs products that came out this millennia? I think I kind of like the 3 hearts. I was going to do like, a grouping of 3, but counting that as one of my 3s, but I don't know if that, I think it looks better with 3. I'm going to glue them. I feel confident. It's just a tag. Not going to worry about it. Can I remember the precise placement of these hearts from the time that I lift one up to when I glue it down? No, probably not. One of my friends was asking me if my memory was going yet. I'm like, no, I think I remember most things. She's like, it's coming. I'm like, great, thanks. That's kind of cute. These will probably get, they'll probably bend, but they'll be fine for till Christmas. Then they can be trimmed off if they're going to be reused. I don't know. I don't think tags get reused like cards do. I put Post-it notes in my cards. Not my Christmas cards, though. I actually print out something and I glue them on the inside so I don't have to write anything. Because after making the cards, I just don't have any more effort left in me. After I've made the cards, I'm like, yeah, I can't write a heartfelt message. I'm done. Elvis has left the building. All right. Maybe we'll do something. Ooh, I think those 2 would look good together. Let's put those on the tag. Yep, I like that. I always feel like I mean business when I got one of these. Got that going. Not fooling around anymore. Now, I am going to, I think I will shape the bottom of that with, no, let's use the good ones. That don't lock themselves shut. Although it's just a tiny little pattern. Doesn't really have the oomph that I want it to, but I like that. The reds aren't the same, but I think it actually is fine. I think it works. This is not the time to be picky. I see a question from Jane Corbett. Is a skin and cut better than the Cricut? I'm probably not the person to ask about that. I, of course, would say a million times yes. I like the look of those mint Cricuts, but they are very expensive. If it's more expensive than the scan and cut, then go for the scan and cut. Absolutely. The thing that I love about the scan and cut is that I like this. Where's my sheet of deer? I will put this into my machine on a mat and it will cut it all out for me perfectly. And all I have to do is like, I've got like a couple buttons to push and that's it. And it's so easy. if you wanted to do a scan and cut type thing with a Cricut or a Silhouette or any of those other machines, you have to have a computer involved. I don't have to have a computer involved with that. You have to get a special mat. You have to take a picture. Then you've got to. There's just so many steps that would make me not even bother. I would pick up a pair of scissors before I would do that. And that's me being desperate because I hate cutting up things by hand with scissors. So yeah, I definitely would say scan and cut's better. Plus the whole, I've never had to deal with Brother customer service, but there's way too many black marks with Cricut that I will not even buy. I won't buy anything else Cricut. They got on my list about 10 years ago, and I haven't bought a mat or a blade. I found other things that I could use for that, other blades, other mats, and I still use it because it was expensive, and it still runs, my old Cricut Expression, but I would never buy another one. I feel like they don't appreciate the customers, and maybe they're different now, but well, you asked me and I gave you my opinion, but I don't think that they treat the customers all that well, and they are constantly upgrading. So you buy something and then it's going to be obsolete. Like the thing that I was telling you, I cut all these things out, that little handheld thing that I use, they discontinued it like shortly after I bought it, which was fine because, I wasn't buying any more cartridges or anything from them anyway at that point, but still it's like, it wasn't cheap, and, people don't have, endless money to spend on their hobby. It's not like it's a business for most people. And I just feel like God, I probably shouldn't be saying this on a live stream, but I feel like their whole company business plan is how much can we squeeze from these existing customers we have. And it just doesn't sit well with me. And I think they also really did their original vendors dirty by selling their machines cheaper than they sold them so cheaply to Walmart that the Walmarts could sell the machines for less than what the independent retailers were charged to buy them. So like my machine was from an independent retailer. I think they were a better quality. If you got them from an independent retailer, I think they really cheapened the ones they put in the big box stores because they kept breaking. And I had friends with them that they got on like Black Friday sales, and they just, oh, this one's sticky. That one's still sticky. And they didn't last, and they broke, and people got frustrated. And mine's is still going, but mine was, twice the price of an independent retailer. And I didn't mind that it was that much, but because it's still working like that. And mine's heavy. Like I pick up friends' Cricuts, and they feel so light. So I don't know. I don't trust the company, I guess, the bottom line. So I would never recommend that company. Anyway, that's my story. That's my opinion. I welcome yours. Hopefully there's not any super. And if you have one, you should absolutely use it. I still use mine. I wouldn't tell anyone not to use something they bought and paid for. That's your investment. You definitely should use it. But I would warn somebody, or just recommend a better product, which I believe Scan and Cut is. And I mean, there can be companies that I don't like, but I generally feel like they're not like doing anything wrong. And the company could have changed. So, I mean, who knows? But I don't know. Once you've done something to get on my list, I guess I hold a grudge. Oh my gosh, we had 208 people. I thought like maybe everyone would be gone because I've been like giving my opinion. Bring another little heart here. Sometimes, if something's ugly enough, it's cute. Like these little hearts, little hand cut hearts. Sheila's asking, do you need a mat with a scan and cut? Yes, you do. I'm still using my original mat that came with my machine. I use Dritz Quilters basting spray to re-sticky it, and I don't have to do that very often. And I do usually put I put a little tape, like when I do the sheet of deer, what I'll do, and let me just get this glued down first before I show you. I'll push it down onto my mat, and then I'll put a little piece of Scotch tape there, 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 and there. So each corner, I'll just Scotch tape it down, just to make sure it doesn't shift at all. But yeah, you need a mat. It takes mats and blades, but I've only replaced my blade once. The blades seem to be a better quality than the Cricut ones were. And as long as you don't cut through your mat, the mats seem to last pretty well. I was wondering if maybe they would stop like registering the lines after a certain amount, but I haven't had that happen. So I mean, when I do have to replace it, I'm not going to feel bad about it because I've used it a lot. I just kind of wash it with like a dish rag every once in a while, not too often, maybe like once a year, and then every few years I'll spray it with some basting spray, like maybe every other year or something. If it doesn't, the sticky doesn't come back after I wash it. Ooh, that's pretty ribbon. That's pretty. I like this better than the ribbon, actually. So yeah, I've got no complaints. I have no affiliation with them. I don't have any affiliate deals with them or anything. I don't even know anybody from Brother other than being on Julie's podcast once. She works for Brother, I think, but she's their spokesperson anyway. But I just, it just does exactly what I want it to do. I don't hook it to my computer. You can. I just use it, plain and simple. And I'm on the computer enough for work that when I'm actually crafting, I don't want to be on it. I don't want to have a computer that I have to deal with. I like that. This is kind of an unusual color choice, I think, for the ribbon, but there's enough undertones of that aqua-y green, I think, to make it work. I think that's kind of cute. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat now. Put the word question in capital letters, or do the hit the ampersand and type Frugal Crafter so it pops up, and then I'll be notified that I'll see a big orange bar. But if you have any questions, post them now. I think I'll make one more tag because, oh my gosh, it's like 2.5 hours, guys. We've been crafting for 2.5 hours. It's crazy. So we'll wrap this up. And yeah, I'll answer questions after I make this last tag. I'll probably make more tags after we're done because it's fun. I love this red deer. I want to use this red deer. That paper is too busy. Oh, I like papers like this too that have the little cut apart strips, because then you've got nice borders. So I think I love the font of that Merry Christmas. It's kind of retro and I think it will look nice with my deer. But I'm going to do that with paper trimmer because I can't cut a straight line for that long. That's too much. That's too much for me. I have my limits. Let's just slice that down. Hopefully, this is not best practices when using a cutting trimmer, because you should really be on a stable surface, not on a pile of random things. When you're trying to cut something, you shouldn't have stuff underneath it like that. But we're just making one cut, so it's fine. Okay. I want to work this red deer in here. I want to work a Merry Christmas. Maybe I'll do the tag this way. Why not? There's no law. The tag police isn't going to come out and say, Miss, your tag is going the wrong way. Explain yourself. Look at this. With a trimmer, I still managed to get some of the other, got some of the other print. Need my eyes checked. That is awful. Gotta cut that a little straighter. Teach your children how to use scissors, please. They'll thank you when they're 45. Do some little Christmas trees. Ooh, that's kind of cute. Got a deer, we've got little Christmas trees. Do we want another deer maybe? Let's see, what do I have for laying down deer left? Boy, I got a lot of green deer left, but not laying down ones. Not very much contrast in that. I could steal this one from that card I never made. That's kind of cute. Oh, we could do a couple layers of trees, make it look like a whole dang forest. Let's see how that looks. I think I have a couple different shades. Let's diorama this bad boy. Actually, I might end up just sticking this on a card because it's going to have so many things sticking out of it that it might not. Let's turn that one that way, maybe. Oh, wait a minute. No, that looks too contrived. Wait a minute. I think I need to cut apart these trees. And then nestle them in ever so specially so they don't look like the same tree over and over again. So we have a little sweet forest. Okay, then our little strip will go in there, hopefully right side up. And then our deer. This looks like it could be on a box of candy canes, doesn't it? Okay, all right, can I remember how these go? Let me see. If I flip it all over this way, then if I glue it backwards back on, maybe I can just trust my spatial abilities. This takes concentration. I can't talk when I'm doing it. Poke that one up higher, maybe. Yeah, I think I might glue this one on a card base, though. The craft card base, wouldn't that be cute? And then use it as a card because I'm just afraid it's going to get too shop worn as a tag. I don't like because see, there was tear out there when I was die cutting it. Oh, those are the same height. You know what? You're getting a little trim, buddy. You're not going to be the same height as that guy. There we go. I think that's better. Now, I got that. And our lovely deer, which is also going to require some glue, I think. Oh gosh, poor guy. It's bent his neck. Glue. Use the tape to clamp and use the glue to stick. That is a woodworking trick. And use Mod Podge so it doesn't leave a snail trail. That's a Lindsay trick. Now let's use this ribbon. I think that'll be just fine. And then we can enjoy the spoils of our labor and I can answer some questions. And later I will probably put on a movie and make a crap ton of tags because it's more fun than cleaning up my mess. Oh, wow. 218 people give a thumbs up and 159 are watching. Wow, cool. Awesome. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. That really helps. That's pretty cute, I think. I'm not so sure about the ribbon. I might have to change that up. But then again, I've got a red deer on there, so maybe let's throw a couple little hand, well, I think I only have one little bit of bitty scrap left. Let's see if we can get one more little heart. This is where the punch, little handheld punch I have in the other one would come in handy. That's a sad looking heart. It's only 4:38, but it sounds like food is being made upstairs. Oh, that's cute. That's fine, I suppose. I do have a plan for dinner, but if they want to come up with their own thing, I guess I'm not going to complain. There, that's cute. Actually, maybe I will leave it as a tag. I'm not sure. I think that's kind of cute. All right, let's just kind of shove things out of the way. Put a few of the examples out for you to look at while I answer questions. If you've got questions, now is the time to put them in the chat. Oh my, what a mess. I'm just going to try to make this visually pleasing. Throw some tags down. And yeah, this is probably as best as I can do, guys. It's pretty crowded here. I can maybe wrangle up a card here to throw in. Let's do the one with the snowballs. I like that one. All right. So now let's see what we got for questions. Okay. Let me catch up here, guys. And I thank you all for hanging out today because this was a long stream and probably not that terribly entertaining. All right. Yes, type the word question in all caps so I'll catch it because I'm kind of scrolling by quickly. Oh, Shannon Wolf says, I ran into some good customer service this week. Bought the Lyra watercolor crayons and one was missing and one was all cracked and they sent me another full set. That's awesome. I love hearing about companies with good customer service. Honestly, I think most art companies are awesome and have great customer service, especially the ones that have been around for generations. So I love to hear it when it's good. I don't like to speak bad about a company unless I think that they kind of are taking advantage of people. Then it's kind of like, I really don't want to be quiet about that. Or if I'm asked, I will be honest about it. Gosh, there's so many little conversations going back and forth. It's kind of neat to see. Well, I don't think there's any questions. Nobody has questions about my remedial tag and card making? I can't believe it. Kevin Moore asks, do you sell your craft? I sell my cards at a little shop in downtown Bangor, and I have in the past rented booths in antique malls to sell my work, my crafts. That's pretty much it. I don't sell them online, and it's a lot of it's kind of a lot of little piecework like that. So I'll put it in a shop, but I don't sell it online just because of the time and shipping and all of that jazz. Michelle asked, what dye did I use for the trees? I didn't use a dye. I used some old designs from Cricut cartridges that were on my little handheld cutter. I just cut out a bunch of Christmas trees at random, and that's what I use. I don't have any Christmas tree dyes. I actually thought I did, but it turns out it was one I borrowed from my mom. And these guys here were just hand cut with straight and scallop scissors. So, nothing fancy. I mean, honestly, I think the primitive hand cut ones look pretty darn good. Let's see, crafting from almost everyone. Sandy Harper, she's awesome. She's got a, I hope I said her last name right. She's got a great YouTube channel. She says a Scan and Cut SDX 85 is on sale at Joann's and Amazon for $224, and that's a great price. Is that one? Does that one scan. I know they have a model that is like called the design and cut that only cuts. You have to hook to your computer. Or maybe you can access some designs locally, but yeah, that's a great price if it's one that scans too. Just make sure it's the scan and cut and not the design and cut, because otherwise you won't have scanner. Oh, Mary, you're so nice. Mary Whitcomb says, I'm pretty sure we just love Lindsay, opinions and all. Oh, Laura says she loves her scan and cut. And it does have an online and computer-based program if you want to try special projects, and it does need a map. Yep. I have my old Cricut that I use with the Sure Cuts a Lot software on my computer. And the machine, because I have one of the old ones from the dealers, is rugged and works well. It was very expensive when I got it, and it's still running, but I honestly would not recommend going with those machines. Older Dirt says, see if the back peels off the green glitter washi tape. I had peeled off the one that didn't stick. I'd already peeled the backing off, and then that rust was what didn't stick. But then the other green did stick, so that was good. All right, I think I'm caught up. I'll just take a look at the end to see if there's any other questions. Terry's gonna go make some Christmas cards. Oh, yay! Michelle A says, sorry for all the questions, but how do you plan your cards? Well, Michelle, I think we've clearly seen today that Lindsay doesn't do a heck of a lot of planning. No, I usually will get an idea like from a stamp, or I'll be inspired by something, and then because believe it or not, I actually planned this, like the cards here. I had that planned out pretty well. I will generally, there'll be something that a lot of times I start with pattern paper if I'm going to use pattern paper, and then I look at those colors, and then I look at stamps, and then I color the stamped images to match the pattern paper. And kind of go like that. A lot of times my cards take on a life of their own where I end up like, oh, that will be cute, and that will be cute, and that will be cute. And then I've got piles and piles and piles of supplies and embellishments and ribbons, because, you know, you see everything that will work and you kind of want to make it all work. So I honestly, I start with something, and then I go for the first thing that will go with it. So if I find a stamp I like, I'll get the stamp. I'll either go with an inked background like we did today, or I'll find pattern paper and I'll go with the first pattern paper I find that will work. And then I go with the first ribbon I find will work, the first embellishment I find that will work. I always just take the first thing that will work, because otherwise I end up with so much stuff. I still end up with so many options and so many things out. But if I didn't do that, if I went to look for the perfect thing, then I wouldn't get anything made, because I wouldn't get anything made but a mess, honestly. Alicia Mott says, this is wonderful. Thank you, Alicia. Let's Paint says, do you have specific inspiration? Not really. I mean, it can be inspired by a color palette, or by a stamp set, or a card that I saw somebody else do. Like the deer, I was inspired to color these deer in like kind of unusual colors, because I saw a card where this person had done these rainbow deer and they put them around in a circle. And I thought, oh, those deer kind of look like the old pink persimmon deer I had. And so I started to color them. And I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool retro Christmas card. And kind of it went on from there. So, you know, it'll start with a spark and then go, it takes a life of its own. Question from Grace. When you do a Christmas card craft, do you use reference pics to paint from? It depends, really. Like I just added a bunch of new cards into the hand painted holiday class, which is 50% off through the end of the month. I put a link in the video description if you guys just didn't get enough of me today, but you want to paint some cards and make way less of a mess. The hand painted holiday course is 50% off. It's my least expensive class. Normal price is $39, so it's $19.50 before tax if you live somewhere that charges tax. So for under $20, you've got oh gosh, how many cards? Lots of cards and lots of tags that you can paint. But sometimes I'll use a reference, but a lot of times for like a Christmas card, something like that, I'll go from my mind. I'll do like a Santa Claus, or, you know, something that's a little bit more whimsical, or a poinsettia, something I've painted a million times. So it really just depends on how much I need a reference for. Okay, let's see. I think Troy D asks, do you also paint cards? Yes, I do. I have quite a few free Christmas card painting tutorials on my YouTube channel. And I also have a class called Hand Painted Holiday that is all hand painted Christmas cards and tags. So we can check either of those out and see what you think. I would actually check out the YouTube videos first and see if you like what I do, and then look at the class. You can see the projects on the sales page. It's linked in the video description, and it's 50% off this month. Art by Jules asked for a recommendation on a good masking fluid. Yes, Winsor & Newton removable masking fluid, and I recommended the tinted version. It's slightly yellow so you can see it better. Just get the removable kind. Winsor & Newton specifically, because all other brands I've tried have chunked up in the bottle before I had it all used up. Winsor & Newton's the only one that I've been able to use it all up because it didn't go bad on me. It's like the Dreamweaver stencil paste. Like, I'm able to use up all that Dreamweaver paste. It doesn't dry out on me like other brands. The glue I used today, Karen, is it's matte Mod Podge, and I put it in these squeezy bottles that you get 2 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. They're really easy to squeeze. I struggle with glue. I don't know what it is. My husband used to edit my videos, and every time he see a glue bottle come out, he'd just be like, oh no. Because he'd have to cut out like 10, 20 minutes of me struggling with glue. So I love these because they're so easy to squeeze. I don't have arthritis or anything, and I just have a hard time with glue, but not these bottles. They're so easy. Helena asks, where did you get the deer stamp? It's from Pink Persimmon, but sadly they're out of business, but I did link below to one from My Favorite Things that's really cute. And I'm sure you can find other ones too, but I thought that was a really cute one, so I linked to that. Someone asked if anyone knows a good deal for scan and cut. I don't know. I would just look at Joann.com. I would look at Amazon and just make sure, like, I would say get the scan and cut too, just because that's what I have. I have the model CM350, and it's a couple of years old. It's like probably like, I think I got it when it first came out or shortly after. So it's like maybe 5 years old. But if you can still get that model, I recommend it. I've been using mine. I use mine, weekly anyway, and it's never let me down. Crafting for Most Everyone, she said she saw one, I think, on Amazon or Joann's. I can't remember what she said. Oh, Ian, don't apologize. He says, sorry for not being a font of knowledge. I'm not a crafter. Ian, you have nothing to be sorry for. You are a wonderful addition to the community here, and I appreciate your moderation of my live streams. All right, I think I am caught up. I want to thank you all for spending a good chunk of your day with me today. That's awesome. And I hope you got some inspiration here. I hope it inspires you to make a mess and make some tags and make some cards. And this will probably be the only live stream this week. I do have a few other videos planned, but I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're here in the United States, and a wonderful rest of your week elsewhere in the world. And we'll see you next time. Feel free to hang out and chat with one another in the chat if you like to, but I gotta go make some dinner. So have a wonderful day. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.